Let's give a warm applause to the distinguished guests who will be present on this event. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and friends from the media, good afternoon. I'm the host of CGTN, Mr. Zheng Junfeng. It's my great pleasure to meet you here in Beijing on this thematic event on green agriculture of the 4th China International Supply Chain Expo. I would like to introduce to you the distinguished guest, Ms. Lin Honghong, Vice Chairperson of CCPIT. Mr. Jing Shuqing, Deputy DG of the Department of Development Planning, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Mr. Chen Gang, Deputy General Manager of COFCO Group. Mr. Yang Chaochun, Vice President of Yili Group. And all exhibitor representatives. First of all, let's give a big round of applause to invite Ms. Lin Honghong, Vice Chairperson of CCPIT, to deliver the opening address. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to gather with you here in Beijing for the Green Agricultural themed event of the 4th China International Supply Chain Expo to exchange views under the theme of leading high-quality agricultural development through green transition. On behalf of CCPIT, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all guests, and my gratitude goes to Chinese and foreign friends from all walks of life who have cared for and supported the preparation of the CISCE. President Xi Jinping pointed out that safeguarding the resilience and stability of global industrial supply chains serves as an important guarantee for world economic growth. Yesterday morning, Vice Premier Ding attended the opening ceremony and delivered a speech, reaffirming China's firm resolve to advance high-standard opening up and sending a powerful call of our times to deepen international cooperation on industrial and supply chains and jointly build an open world economy. Agriculture is a key sector for sustainable development, faced with challenges including global population growth, climate change, and resources shortages. Accelerating the green transition of agriculture and strengthening international agricultural cooperation have become a requirement for harmonious coexistence between humans and nature and have won international recognition. In recent years, China has made positive progress in agricultural transformation, with steadily improved supply capacity of high-quality produce. Sales of grain food exceeded 600 billion yuan in 2025, driving agricultural production toward standardization and green development. At present, 3 notable trends are emerging in the global green transition of agriculture. First, the technological revolution is reshaping agricultural production modes, shifting agriculture from high input and high output to low consumption and low emission development. Second, market demand is upgrading from securing sufficient food to pursuing tasty and healthy food. with rising consumer demand for green, organic, and low-carbon agricultural products. Third, international agricultural cooperation is evolving toward mutual recognition of standards, joint technological research, and collaborative ecological development. Taking this opportunity, I would like to put forward 3 proposals. First, unleash new driving forces for the green transition of agriculture. We will seize opportunities brought by digital and biotechnologies, advanced technological upgrading, and model innovation agriculture. Develop smart and precision agriculture and boost resource utilization efficiency. Second, expand new space for green agricultural development. We will accelerate the transformation of agricultural development models, increase the supply of high-quality green agricultural products, and raise the green and ecological value of agriculture. Third, foster a new landscape of green agricultural cooperation. We will strengthen in-depth alignment of global agricultural industrial supply and innovation chains. Build an industrial ecosystem featuring division of labor and complementary strength, and deliver the fruits of green agricultural development to people of all countries. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, as China's largest institution for trade, investment, and industrial promotion, CCPIT has long been committed to advancing international cooperation on the green economy. Following the practice of previous 3 expos, this year's expo has set up a green agricultural chain exhibition zone to showcase core technologies and products covering all links from farmland to tables. Many Fortune Global 500 companies and industry leaders have taken an active part in the exhibition. We hold this themed forum to build consensus and pool wisdom and strength for advancing the global green transition of agriculture. We hope that you will engage in in-depth discussions, tap cooperation opportunities, and deliver tangible outcomes. In closing, I wish this event a huge success. Wish all guests good health, smooth work, and fruitful gains. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lin Honghong. Next, let's welcome Mr. Jing Shuqing, Deputy DG of the Department of Development Planning, MARA. Distinguished Vice Chairperson Lin, distinguished guests, good afternoon. I would like to thank CCPIT for the kind invitation. It's my pleasure to attend this expo. This expo continues to host special events on green agriculture. This has been the 4th year. This demonstrates the organizers' high regard for agriculture and rural development, and their continuous focus on the green development of agriculture. On behalf of the ministry, I would like to wish this event a complete success, and for those who have been supporting the 3 agricultural work, I would like to express my gratitude. Green is the essence of high-quality development. In the past 14th 5-year plan period, agriculture and rural departments at all levels, together with all of you present, have worked hard to steadily enhance the green development of agriculture of China. First, we have made notable progress in protecting and utilizing agricultural resources. We have built over 1 billion mu of high-standard farmland nationwide and achieved the goal of protecting and utilizing 100 million mu of black soil in northeast China. The effective utilization coefficient of farmland irrigation water has increased to 0.583. Secondly, the promotion of clean production methods in agriculture has been accelerated. The utilization rate of chemical fertilizers for major crops and the coverage rate of grain prevention and control of pests and diseases have increased by 3.1 and 17.7 percentage points respectively. The utilization rate of livestock and the poultry manure has reached 80%, and the utilization rate of straw has been stable at over 88%. The recycling rate of agricultural film has reached 85%. The conservation function of agricultural ecosystems has steadily improved. More than 150 billion aquatic organisms have been released, and the evaluation of the integrity index of aquatic aquatic organisms in the mainstream of the Yangtze River has improved. The green and low-carbon development of the entire agricultural industry chain has been achieved. The number of green, organic, famous, special, excellent, and geographical indication agricultural products has also increased. These past 5 years have been highly crucial. Recently, the State Council has issued the 14th five-year plan for accelerating agriculture and rural modernization, which puts the comprehensive green transformation of agricultural development in a more important position. I would like to introduce to you the main arrangements. First, dedicated chapters to accelerate the comprehensive green transformation of agricultural development, including accelerating agricultural resource conservation and ecological conservation, strengthening agricultural water conservation and efficiency improvement, implementing cultivated land value based on local conditions, and implementing the 10-year fishing ban along the Yangtze River, conducting a new round of agricultural resource surveys and zoning, promoting green production methods in agriculture, promoting precise application of chemical fertilizers, conducting green prevention and control of crop diseases and pests, promoting the utilization of straw and the use of manure, and the scientific use and recycling of plastic mulch, promoting the transformation of agricultural ecological value, conducting value accounting for agricultural related ecological products. The plan has also set up special sections to deploy green development in agriculture. First, a new round of agricultural resources zoning, improving the agricultural resources ledger, carry out the division of agricultural zoning. Second, agricultural resource protection and utilization, improve the rotation and fallow system of cultivated land, build efficient water-saving irrigation facilities according to local conditions. Third, the management of agricultural non-point source pollution. We will promote the interception, purification, and recycling of nitrogen and phosphorus in farmland, strengthen the treatment and utilization of agricultural waste such as livestock and poultry manure. I would like to especially highlight MARA's ongoing efforts related to green development. As I mentioned, first, a new round of agricultural resource zoning, including survey and regional-based arrangements. This tailored to local conditions and scientific planning for modernization of agricultural development. That's highly visioning. The last round took place 40 years ago. This work is not only related to the allocation and high efficient use of agricultural resources, but also to the optimization of agricultural industrial chain and supply chain and the quality and efficiency of agricultural modernization. In the 15th five-year plan, we will carry out a new round of agricultural resource surveys, get a clear understanding of our foundation, and based on that conduct evaluations. Second, the evaluation of green development in agriculture. This is a comprehensive evaluation. In recent years, we have pulled experts to develop agricultural green development indicators. In the next, we will use quantitative and quantifiable and perceptible data to measure the level of green development. In the 15th five period, agriculture is a major aim. This means that we will move faster in promoting the green development of agriculture. In the new era, we will strive to improve the assessment and evaluation work, apply the evaluation outcome to practice, help different countries identify gaps and strengthen their weak links. Dear guests, green development is China's action and also a global common issue. I look forward that taking this event as an opportunity, we share outcomes, experience, and join hands to promote the green development of the agricultural supply chain and finally achieve the harmonious coexistence between human and nature. Thank you. Next, we invite Mr. Chen Gang, Deputy DG of COFCO Group. Distinguished Vice President Lin, WDG Jing, guests from home and abroad, industry colleagues, dear friends. In this midsummer season, we gather numerous distinguished guests here. It's my great honor to meet all partners in Beijing during this expo and take part in this themed event, leading high-quality agriculture development through green transition. In the previous two speeches, we know that we have friends from agriculture and also fishery. First of all, on behalf of COFCO Group, I would like to extend warm congratulations on the successful holding of this event and express my greetings and heartfelt gratitude to all friends who have long stood together to safeguard the global agriculture and food chain and committed to the green and sustainable development of agriculture. As the world's first national-level expo focused on supply chain cooperation, this has grown into an important platform and global public good that connects global industrial chains, delivers mutual benefits and win-win results. We focus on key challenges and strive to become a high-level platform. As a leading agriculture and food chain enterprise participating in the Expo for 4 consecutive years, we always value this platform and take the active part in all activities of the Expo. Just yesterday, COFCO joined numerous industry partners to launch the joint initiative on building safe and resilient global agriculture and food supply chains. Calling on counterparts worldwide to deepen cooperation, strengthen coordination, pursue green development, and embrace innovation. This initiative resonates fully with the core idea of today's event and shares the same development direction. We believe that by exchanging ideas today, we can pool consensus. The people are the foundation of nation, and grain sustains people's livelihood. At present, overlapping challenges, including global population growth, frequent extreme weather, and tightening resources, make the full-chain green transition of agriculture the inevitable choice to safeguard food security and uphold ecological values, as well as a key measure to foster new quality productive forces in agriculture and build a modern agricultural system, just as Deputy DG Jing introduced in very detailed ways. As a leading chain enterprise in China's agriculture and food sector and a key player in global supply chains, COFCO operates a full industrial chain covering from soil to table, handling over 180 million tons of agricultural products annually, acting as a stabilizer for the global agriculture and food supply chain. Guided by high-quality development, the group has fully implemented 8 upgrading projects to boost the industrial chain, innovation capacity, digital transformation, brand influence, and service capability, unleashing new driving forces across the whole chain. Upstream, we advance agricultural modernization, leverage technological and model innovation to raise agricultural output quality, build global green corridors.
Consolidating the foundation for high-quality grain supply. And in Lishu, in Jilin, and in Mongolia, Xinjiang, and the Hunan provinces, we are building the modernized agriculture models. And midstream, we advance agriculture modernization, leverage technology and the model innovation to raise agricultural output quality, build global grain corridors, and consolidate the foundation. And also, we accelerate digital and technological transformation, operate green factories, low-carbon grain depot, and zero-carbon industrial parks, and driven green and efficient industrial upgrading through technology. In Ningxia, Lingwu, we built the world's first blackout factory for the dairy industry, which is also a lighthouse factory. As Mr. Yang is also here, we work together to promote the development of these industries. We also rely on the technology to drive green efficient upgrading of the industries, which is the only way forward. And downstream, we focus on people's livelihood needs, develop premium brands and nutritious green food, build a food process product traceability system, protect public health, and improve quality of life and high-quality product services, and lead the trend of green and healthy consumption. On this platform, which is a rare opportunity, I would like to share the 4 practices for COFCO. And firstly, we adhere to safety bottom line, use green technology to strengthen the foundation of food security. COFCO is deeply engaged in green transition of agriculture, adhering to the parallel development technology ecology, promoting various green production, storage technology, built 68 national level green factory and 10 zero carbon factories and 1 zero carbon green depot. Our project of zero carbon rising in Taicang, Jiangsu province uses digital twin technology, effectively improving storage efficiency, reducing logistics, carbon emissions, achieving good season and good methods, and also the integration of a good farmland with coordinate supply chain and ecological protection to build a green food security line. Second, we connect global chains and build sustainable supply chains through green cooperation, relying on both domestic and international markets and leveraging two types of resources. COFCO practices responsible agricultural trade and builds a low-carbon, transparent, and fully traceable global green agriculture and food supply chain by building a traceability system for Brazilian soybeans. We have achieved 100% traceability for our self-operated soybeans. We have developed our responsibility standards, which have been successfully adopted in European procurement system. Relying on our global network, we deepen international green cooperation and work together to build beneficial global green agriculture and food supply chain, and thirdly, deepen industrial synergy and activate the endogenous driving force of transformation through win-win cooperation. COFCO gives full play to the leading role in the chain and promotes the coordinated development of entire industrial chain. Upstream, it collaborates with scientific research entities to tackle core technologies in agriculture. Downstream, we innovate industrial cooperation models and build modern demonstration zones. We provide farmers with one-stop services along the entire chain, helping them integrate into the modern agricultural system in the new era. And fourthly, we enhance our brand value and improve the overall competitiveness of agriculture. Through quality enhancement, green is the core advantage of COFCO's agricultural products and the brands, and the group leverages the advantages of the entire industrial chain, powers brand development with green quality, and uses brand value to feed back into the industrial upgrading, creating a matrix of high-quality green agricultural products, promoting domestic green agricultural brands to global markets, and continuously strengthening overall competitiveness of agricultural industry. The green transition of agriculture and the stable development of the supply chain can never be done by one country, one industry, and we require the whole world to work together for this common cause. By seizing this opportunity, COFCO would like to join hands with all partners present, implement joint initiatives, adhere to the concept of openness, inclusiveness, mutual benefit, win-win cooperation, deepen technological exchange, trade connectivity, and industrial interaction using green technology as the driving force to promote low-carbon collaboration throughout the value chain. Relying on global cooperation, we would like to work together to build a more resilient, efficient green agricultural supply chain, and we use the brand value as the anchor to expand the value creation space for agriculture, to build a new structure for agri-food system, to safeguard food security and ecosystem security. Dear colleagues, the road ahead is long and challenging, yet we will arrive as long as we forge ahead. Persistent efforts will bring a promising future. The green and sustainable development agriculture is systematic long-term undertaking. Only with joint efforts and a solid practice from global industry can we achieve steady and long-term progress. In closing, I sincerely wish this thematic event on green agriculture complete success. And also, I wish you fruitful discussion and fruitful takeaways. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen Gang from COFCO. Now, please join me in welcoming Mr. Yang Chaoqing, Vice President of Yili Group, to address us. Distinguished Vice Chairperson Madam Lin, DDG Jing, dear leaders and guests, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to attend the thematic event on agriculture of the 4th China International Supply Chain Expo and engage in in-depth discussions with guests around the theme of leading high-quality agriculture development through green transition. Agriculture is the foundation of a nation, and green development defines the fundamental character of agriculture. And globally, agriculture is confronted with challenges including resource constraints, climate change, and declining biodiversity. The traditional growth model is unsustainable, and advancing green transition and building sustainable agricultural production and supply chains have been a consensus across all countries. As a major agricultural country, China has consistently upheld the principle that the sea waters and large mountains are invaluable assets. We are accelerating the green and low-carbon development of agriculture, fostering new quality productive forces, and shifting agriculture from output-oriented growth to balanced development of quality and efficiency. As a vital platform linking global supply chains, the CISCE's focus on green agriculture comes at an optimum moment and carries far-reaching significance. The dairy industry serves as a benchmark for modern agriculture. It connects crop farming on one end and the processing on the other, making it a prime sector that embodies green circularity and integrated crop livestock coordination amid China's strive for agricultural green transition. The dairy industry has taken the lead in exploration practice, from high-quality forage to large-scale breeding to low-carbon processing and green consumption. China's dairy sector is speeding up the development of food chain multi-layer green development system. In recent years, a growing number of dairy companies have rolled out integrated crop livestock models to realize resource utilization of manure and ecological circulation on pastures. In processing links, clean energy replacement and energy-saving carbon reduction technologies are widely adopted, bringing forth a steady stream of green factories and zero-carbon products. On the consumption and the low-carbon concept has gained widespread acceptance, and the market for green dairy products keeps expanding. These efforts have not only boosted industrial competitiveness, but also provided strong support for greener agriculture, higher farmer incomes, and more beautiful rural landscapes. As a leading chain enterprise in China's dairy industry, Yili has embedded the green development philosophy throughout its entire industrial chain and played an active role in advancing the green transition of dairy industry. We focus on crop livestock circulation, clean production, and green consumption, promote integrated ecological breeding, and have built a number of zero-carbon green factories. We took the lead in establishing the industry's first zero-carbon alliance, motivating numerous partners to jointly explore low-carbon development paths. Looking ahead, we stand ready to join hands with partners worldwide to connect supply chains via green development, empower high-quality agricultural growth through collaboration, and contribute China's wisdom and solutions to building modern agriculture featuring harmonious coexistence between humanity and nature. In closing, I wish this thematic event on green agriculture great success. Thank you. Many thanks to Mr. Yang Chaoqun. And we've finished the opening remarks session of the systematic event. Nowadays, green ecological farming and low-carbon planting and breeding technologies run through the entire agricultural industrial chain, and sustainable development has become a universal consensus for global agriculture industry. Relying on cutting-edge green technology, the industry is connecting production, processing, storage, and transportation, boosting in-depth coordination between upstream and downstream players, bringing a global green supply chain system with interoperable standards and a controllable carbon emission reduction, and smoothing domestic and overseas agricultural products circulation channels. Global agriculture is moving away from traditional model of simply pursuing output and entering a new development stage featuring coordinated progress of ecology, industry, and trade. So we are now setting the stage for the first panel discussion. We're going to focus on the 5 core green agriculture sectors. The 5 panelists will focus on the key tracks, including low-carbon breeding, green crop nutrition, agricultural product, industrial chains, and upstream, downstream ecological farming, and sharing frontline experience and forward-looking insights. Please join me in welcoming our panelists, Ms. Hou Yu, Chief Sustainability Officer, Syngenta Group China, Ms. Elizabeth Struess, Director, International Government Relations, Cargill, Mr. Chen Jianping, Vice President of Supply Chain Management, Yum China, and Ms. Ariel Zhen, Head of Marketing, Greater China, Corteva Agri-Science, Mr. Chuan Nok Tan Chuk, Vice President, Yara International. And actually, I think all the guests and audience are very familiar with the companies of the panelists. So firstly, I would like to ask you to introduce us the role of your company along the supply chain and what are the innovations brought by your company to the industry. Syngenta Group started in the Switzerland with a history of over 200 years as an agricultural tech company. It was acquired by a state-owned enterprise in 2017. We now under Sinochem, and we focus on the upstream of the industry providing high-quality seeds and plant protection products. We also provide modern agricultural services. And today we are going to focus on grain supply chain. And from the title, you see that I am the Chief Sustainability Officer. This indicates that Syngenta has attached a great importance to green ecology.
Colleague want me to call you Betty. I think you're very friendly in that. So Cargill is very, very famous, very powerful, very big, but people may not know every aspect of your business. Can you give us a very brief introduction of your company?
Yes, more than happy to. So hello, my name is Betsy Struess. I am the Director for International Government Relations based in Washington, D.C., and I'm happy to be here on behalf of Cargill. So we are a diversified multinational company focused on agriculture and food, headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have been around for over 160 years. We operate in 70 countries and regions with products and services reaching over 120 countries and a global workforce of 160,000 employees. In fiscal year 2025, we ranked roughly around 50th among the Fortune 500 and continue to remain one of the top companies for several consecutive years on Forbes' list of the largest private companies in the US. Cargill's presence in China dates back to the 1970s, around the time of the 3 China-US joint communiques. Over the past 55 years, we have developed deep roots in the Chinese market, with operations over 24 provinces and municipalities, more than 5,500 employees, and 42 operating sites. Our businesses in China include ag and trading, animal nutrition and health, food solutions, metals and ocean transportation, financial services and risk management, and bioindustrial businesses. Over the past 5 decades, Cargill has become deeply integrated into China's development strategy, continuously expanding investment and business layout in the country and making positive contributions in China's food security and stability of its agricultural supply chains through our expertise and long-term commitment.
We really appreciate companies like Cargill's presence in China. You said 50 years, 5 decades. That's why we see no matter what geopolitical situation changes in the world, these fundamental exchanges and cooperation, deep-rooted cooperation between China, US, and China, many other countries are very important. And they will continue for another 50, 100, or as your company's history, 160 years, no matter what. Thank you. 百胜中国陈总，百胜现在又上了那个 business headlines 啊，因为一个这个大的 deal， 我们不讨论那个大 deal。作为一个
So we have Mr. Chen Jianping from Yum China. So today we are not going to talk about the big deals made by Yum Group. Please introduce us the business and supply chain.
机会在这里。
It's my pleasure to meet you here and exchange with you. Actually, my company, last year, we were also here. We are actually the headquarters in China for KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. We have covered over 2,000 towns in China, opened more than 18,000 stores. The first store was opened in 1987, 39 years ago. It's still operating. As a food company, we are one of the first batches in China that has promoted green transformation of its industrial chain. We look forward to exchanging with you. Today here we see like Cargill, like Mr. Yang is also here, so very look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. There are many changes in this industrial chain, some driven by government policies, some come from the actions and initiatives of large companies and corporations or small companies. And also Corteva. Corteva is from the US. It's a giant in corporate protection, right? Thank you very much. I'm glad to have this opportunity to share with you. Let me briefly introduce you Cortivia. It's a company with a long history but young. We were listed on the Nasdaq in the US in June 2019, a company focused on agricultural technology. We're also moving towards a new stage, and the company will complete its next split in the coming months. So after the splitting, two new companies will be established, each focusing on one. The new Cortiva will continue to focus on plant protection agriculture, while the other will focus on seed industry innovation. These two companies have their own strengths, but I think we support the continuous innovation of Chinese agriculture. The other is called Vital. This is our commitment. It never changed. Vital is actually a combination of two words. We hope that in the future it's not only a seed company, it represents advanced genes and technology. It also represents its ambition to make a greater contribution to the agriculture. So you are optimistic about development of the industry?
For this opportunity, and it's my pleasure to sit here together with you. My name is Trúc Trừng. I'm the Vice President of Yara China. And talk about Yara, we are the world leading fertilizer in the world, and we are one of the largest global trader and producer of ammonia in the world, and our headquarters in Norway. Okay, so our history, Yara, we established from 1905, so really long history. From Yara, we have the first batch in China is more than 100 years ago. So our footprint in China also long. And for Yara China, we have the team with 150 people. We have the office in Shanghai, the office in Guangzhou, and our plant in Anhui, Hebei, in Anhui province as well. Yeah. So this is about Yara.
Thank you. Okay. 我们正式进入我们的交流环节。
Okay, we move on to the exchange session. We know that the supply chain is emerging. There are a lot of new technologies. So I want to ask Mr. Hou, what are the new technologies you are promoting? Actually, we mainly work on the front end of industrial chain, mainly about some new technologies. We focus on biotechnology. So currently, some of our bioproducts take up a big proportion. They are very eco-friendly. And on the other hand, we focus on the cultivation end. Our business in China since 2017. We started to establish agricultural technology service centers across the country. We share farmers the advanced green planting techniques. One important way is through regenerative agriculture, which focuses on soil conservation. For example, we are promoting the Runtian project in North China. Through no tillage, strong mulching, and some water retention technologies to achieve green planting. This morning, we also worked with our partners in the industrial chain, Yara, McDonald's, and China Agricultural University. We released a practical manual guide. We hope that by sharing these standard technologies, we can promote the green development of the whole industry.
Or how can I say that? Recycling green tech, yeah, in agricultural technology. So what about Cargill? What are some of the green technology that you've been adopting?
Yes, happy to speak to that. So in our view, the value of green technologies lies not in only reducing emissions, but also connecting all parts of the industrial chain and enhancing overall resilience and sustainability. Cargill's practice in China can be summarized in 3 points. First, starting from the field. Second, linking the chain through technology. And third, amplifying value through collaboration. First, on the production side, Cargill has focused on advancing regenerative agriculture, especially in the black soil corn producing areas of Jilin province. Working with partners, including the Rural Economy Research Center of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, we have promoted no-till or reduced-till farming, straw mulching, crop rotation, and integrated water and fertilizer management, with a focus on restoring soil health and improving resource efficiency. The project covered more than 500 farming households and nearly 3,000 hectares of farmland. Some demonstration fields have achieved water savings of about 30%, reductions in fertilizer more than 20%, and higher yields. This has strengthened farmers' confidence in participation and laid the foundation for large-scale production. Second, in terms of institutional and technological collaboration, agronomic technology alone is not enough. It also needs to be combined with finance and risk management. In Jilin province, together with the World Food Program, we have combined integrated water and fertilizer management with insurance plus futures models to help farmers cope with climate and market volatility so that they are willing to invest and open to trying new approaches, thereby enabling green technologies to truly take root. This combination of technology plus mechanisms is an important lever for improving the resilience of agricultural supply chains. Lastly, at the supply chain and standard level, the key is to make green technologies measurable, connectable, and replicable. Together with industry partners, Cargill has helped advance China's first group standard for regenerative agriculture and has developed digital carbon accounting and certification tools. These tools translate emission reductions and ecological improvements at the farm level into data that can be recognized and used throughout the supply chain, allowing farmers' efforts to be incorporated into procurement, processing, and downstream customer decision-making systems. On this basis, we have also delivered deforestation-free certified soybean meal products to customers in China, extending green requirements from the planting stage through the food and feed industries. Overall, green technologies are becoming a new language for industrial chain collaboration. They enable farmers, companies, and customers to work together around a common set of metrics, helping transform ecological value into economic value and strengthen supply chain resilience against climate and market uncertainty. For China's green agricultural transition, our key takeaway is that pathways must be tailored to local conditions, mechanisms should be market-based, and adoption depends on collaboration. Cargill is willing to continue playing a connecting role in working together with government, industry partners, and farmers to scale up these proven practices and contribute to high quality and sustainable agricultural development in China.
Yeah, we really appreciate you mentioned to accommodate green tech and get this green transitioning supply chain. You could supply finance, you could supply insurance, and teach farmers how to do it with digital tools. Really appreciate that. 百胜中国的陈总，就是我觉得这个您就是做供应链的。
Okay, Mr. Chen, you are an expert in supply chain, so I would like to ask you some relevant question. What are you busy at? What are your short-term goals, at least for now? Thank you for your interesting question, because ESG, including sustainable development, a hot topic. So at Young China, we have done a lot of things. We have achieved some results. So in the past 60 years, we have been selected into the Dow Jones Global Index for 6 consecutive years. In dietary in the industry, we have been the top one. In the past 4 years, we have obtained MSCI ESG AA certification for 4 consecutive years. We have gradually established a complete and sustainable supply chain development system and set our medium and long-term goals. From the perspective of the entire industry, I wanted to share with you that by 2035, we want to achieve that compared with 2020 for per ton of purchased goods. Could you repeat that number? This number is quite important. Okay, by 2035, our medium-term goal compared with 2020, per ton of purchased goods, the emission will reduce by 66.3%. By 50, we will achieve net zero emission across the entire value chain. SBTi has approved our goal, the Science-Based Targets Initiative. Yum China is the first company in China that has been approved by SBTi. So you have intermediate and long-term goals. Are they feasible? I have to say a bit challenging, but from the perspective of our entire supply chain in China, we have more than 800 local suppliers. We also work with our suppliers to achieve green transformation because there are many local suppliers. And from the perspective of sustainable ESG, their understanding was weak in the early stage. But we have also taken some measures, including several dimensions. We have different green technologies from agricultural crop rotation in the planting stage. Mr. Ho also introduced it just now, including the optimization of our feed and then to the energy-saving technology in our production processes, the use of photovoltaic green power, and to the power generation of chicken manure biomass. Because we are the largest chicken purchaser in China, we have many upstream chicken farms and processing plants. And then to the reuse of organic fertilizer, we have worked with our partners in different links to apply the latest technologies. In 2023 and 2025, we established the Yum China PV Green Power Alliance and the Yum China Supply Chain Low Carbon Green Alliance. And through our alliance systems, among our nearly 1,800 suppliers, we share the best practices of green technology. And within the entire supply chain systems, we unify cross-chain green standards, strengthen synergy, and set the internal industry chain carbon footprint accounting standards. We actively promote energy conservation and emission reduction. In the future, we'll also empower through green technology to achieve diversified value. First is the economic value, which can reduce cost and improve efficiency and make the entire industry more competitive. Because in the past years, in international trend, there have always been green barriers, and through past years' efforts, we are making breakthroughs in removing those barriers so that this improves our bargaining power in the global industrial chain. The second is ecological value. I will do global carbon reduction governance and achieve low carbon transformation of the entire chain. The third is industrial value. We are also optimizing our industrial structure.
Thank you very much. On the green transformation, so of course, there are costs in the early stage, but in the long term, it can contribute to reduction of cost and the increase of efficiency. Then for Corteva, and we see that it is specialized in the seeds and the crop protection bioproducts. Clearly, it is important to increase output as well as it can contribute to the reduction of cost. So from the perspective of improving production and to shift to sustainable development, it's not about planting more this year, and it is possible to have a good harvest next year. So how can we make assurance of a production? So when we talk about agricultural innovation, we focus not only on the production or the yield. So like the DDG Jing and Chairperson Lin mentioned in their speeches that agricultural industry in China is not about so how can we provide sufficient food to feed the people. It is to ensure the supply, the quality of food, to maintain the resilience of agriculture and production, and also to comply with the requirements for soil, water bodies, ecology, and efficiency improvement. In order to satisfy all these requirements, we need to move forward with the help of innovation for Corteva. Firstly, we work on the development of technologies for seeds in order to tap into the potential of seeds as well as the resistance to the outside environment. And with the precise plant protection solutions, we can help the farmers to protect their crops from pests and diseases as well as weeds. And through natural inputs like biostimulants and scientifically precise agronomic services, our farmers can increase efficiency of production. There are less stress on the environment. This is what we should work on. And for us, the food safety and environmental security should support each other instead of that they should sacrifice for another. So you mentioned environmental and the food security and the safety. And you just mentioned the newly derived company, Viral. And it symbolizes the barrel for storing grains. And CCTV did a series of interviews in South and the Central Plain regions in China. And we have seen that the heavy rain actually affected the harvest and storage. So I would like to ask about the solution of crop protection from Corteva. This is a very broad topic. I would like to provide you with a scenario to think about these questions. In China, agriculture has entered into a new stage of development today. When we talk about agriculture in the past, we believed it is a smaller scale with a lower level of modernization. But today we see that China is self-sufficient in the provision and the production of grains and crops. And secondly, we have seen the upgrading of high-value crops. And thirdly, the rise of professional farmers. In the past, we used to have a lot of small holders. And also, if you studied history, you know that there is this household contract responsibility system. And now we see the rise of a lot of professional farmers. And for those work in the agricultural business, the question for us is that how can we adapt to the new trends and the changes in the bigger environment? This represents an important task for us if you come back to the scenario and the context of rural revitalization. It's not only about increase of income and efficiency and the development of rural areas. It's also about how the fertility of agricultural innovation can be unlocked. In the past, we talked about innovation as that the advanced manufacturing, digital economy, artificial intelligence in various industries. But nowadays, we see the great fertility of creation and innovation in agriculture. In China, we see very good local biotech as well as the genetic editing capabilities, digital agriculture, and the fertile ground for application of AI in agriculture. We have seen the emergence and the birth of new models of services. We've seen unlimited possibilities of China's agricultural development, and we should also adapt to and respond to these new needs, like you mentioned. Innovations are not limited to crop protection. It is about while we introducing new technologies into China, how we are able to incorporate the real needs from the farmlands into our logic of innovation. In the past, we would like to introduce advanced experience from other countries into China. Today, it is about we incorporate China's real agricultural needs into this ecosystem of global resources of the company. Then the solutions we provide can satisfy the medium and the long-term development needs of agriculture. Thank you for mentioning the high added value agricultural products. In addition to eating well, more diverse diet.
Ms. Chu, is that your company provides crop nutrition. What kind of innovation does your company provide in crop nutrition, especially to high-value crops, high-value agricultural products?
So from Yara, we have our missions. It is responsibly feed the world and protect the planet. So we know that the food system around the world take 1/3 of the world total greenhouse gas emissions. And to decarbonize our food system successfully and profitably, we must collaborate across every single step in our food chain, from fertilizer productions to the food brand company, to retailer, to the farmer field. So to Yara, in our innovations, our technologies, I can tell you some of our key pillar and our key initiative. The first one is from productions. We have the Yara Climate Choice fertilizer. And this is good example because for the Yara Climate Choice fertilizer, we produce in 2 ways. Some are made using renewable energy, reducing emissions up to 95%. And Yara operates 24 megawatt renewable hydrogen plant in Norway. And it's the largest of its kind currently operations in Europe and supplied to the world. Some are using the carbon capture and storage CCS technology. In this summer, we will operate Europe's largest carbon capture project and Yara flagship ammonia and fertilizer plant in Slunsky in Netherlands will liquefy 800,000 tons of captured CO2 yearly. So through the Yara Climate Choice fertilizer, we enable to measure emissions reductions from the crop level, and also using the same trust, the high quality crop nutrition and produce insignificant lower carbon footprint. And to the second pillar, how can we bring it to our partner, our food chain partner, to bring our value, our solutions to the industrial chains? So we have the climate choice fertilizer, and now we supply it plug into the value chains. We have the customer in Europe, in New Zealand, in Australia, and we cooperate a lot of the crop processor and also the FMCG company, and also a lot of retailer chains. We supply the product. And in Europe, the key partner is PepsiCo we have, and we supply to PepsiCo the best-in-class crop nutrition product. This is Yara Climate Choice fertilizer. And also we have them to increase the nutrition use efficiency and also boost the use and reduce the carbon footprint of their crop. Yara is now aiming to deliver 165,000 tons of fertilizer per year to PepsiCo and covering around 25% of their crop fertilizer need in Europe by 2030. So we have more and more, a lot of partnership like that, even in other countries we also have. And the third pillar, we're talking about the farmer, the smallholder farmer. And we know that the healthy soil is the foundations of the agriculture and in the food system. So in Yara, we use both online and offline to approach and use our digital tools to give our knowledge to help the farmer in around the world, to teach them, to give them our knowledge. How can they use the right essential of nutrition in the right way to ensure that they can have the high yield, they can optimize the land use, and also to protect biodiversity in the soil, ensuring the soil remain productivities while still deliver the better return and the high quality to the farmer. So I can tell from Yara, we have 3 categories like that.
Yeah, Thank you. And I think Chinese farmers are very busy too. They have to learn a lot of things, from seeding to growing, harvesting, transporting, storage, further production, and probably cold chain transportation again. They're very busy. 好了，我们进行第二轮的这个问答。再想回到先正达这边，想问一下先正达，其实你们在这个供应链里面做了这么长时间，肯定也可以看到现在很多的一些问题，是不是？那最紧迫的、需要处理的、需要去 improve 的那些问题是什么？
其实刚才听了几位嘉宾的介绍，我都感到很受鼓舞。我特别关注的呢就是整个产业链对这个绿色、生态、环保的一个共识、一个认同、一个共同的追求。
原来觉得挺孤单的，自己在那想，然后原来大家都在忙这些事儿，是吧？我看到你频频点头。
对，因为从我们上游的这个农产品的投入和种植端来讲，我们的确在和农户共同来指导种植的过程中，把这些种植技术、把这些绿色的投入品带给农户，是一个很重要的过程。但是我想，在中国的这种农村和经济的环境下，如果我们依靠农户自发的、自觉的去使用绿色的投入品，去使用绿色的种植技术，其实还是一个很难的一个推动过程。那么恐怕如果这样的话，就很难形成一个规模化的，可能更多的是一个试点这样的形式。但是如果我们这个就是绿色的发展是一个整个产业链的共识的话，其实刚才几位嘉宾也提到了，就包括我们如何让产业链、供应链最后形成价值链。我们在有我们的生态价值和我们社会价值的同时，我们有我们的最后的经济价值，也就是说，我们最后形成的这种绿色低碳的农产品卖出了好的价钱，然后再反哺给我们的种植户，那这样其实是一个很好的一个良性循环。其实从先正达的这个业务的实践上来看呢，我们在一些重要的作物，比如说水稻、小麦和马铃薯上，都有非常好的下游的合作伙伴。那么我们通过这种高品质的订单，然后把我们下游合作伙伴，就像陈总这样的，对一些生态啊，对一些低碳有很好的要求的这些终端的要求，形成我们标准化的种植方案来给到农户。那这样最后呢，能够形成高品质的农产品。那么农户呢，因为这种高品质的订单也有好的收益。我们觉得只有这样全产业链的共识和全产业链的实践，才能够推动农业更好的绿色的可持续的发展。
好的，非常高兴在这方面并不是独行，而是你的合作伙伴们、上下游的企业们和竞争对手们都在干的事儿。Yeah. So Betsy, we know that your company is not only helping farmers to grow veggies, but also raising livestock. So what are some of the experiences in raising livestock in more greener, in more sustainable supply chain?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. I'm happy to talk about what Cargill does beyond the planting side. So we have also taken extensive practice in China's livestock sector around efficiency, emissions reduction, and food safety. So I'd briefly like to share related cases and results of these three aspects. First, digital precision nutrition directly improves farming efficiency and resilience. Feed usually accounts for more than 70% of farming costs, so the key is to make better and more precise use of every portion of feed. In China, Cargill has applied this formula, Lightning Formula Max, in feed production. Through online near-infrared testing and cloud-based models, the system enables real-time identification of raw material nutrition and automatic fine-tuning of formulas. Pilot companies have shown stable savings of between 7 to 20 RMB per ton of feed, while also reducing waste and emissions caused by nutritional fluctuations. In swine farming, we have introduced the Digital Farm Management Platform, which continuously analyzes and benchmarks more than 200 indicators across reproduction, health, and feeding. This has significantly improved the efficiency of partner farms, with some benchmark farms reaching near industry-leading levels. Such platform-based, data-driven tools have already had the conditions for rapid replication across region and scales. Second, green livestock technologies can deliver both emission reduction and performance. In the ruminant sector, we combine precision nutrition with emission reduction. At several dairy farms in China, by optimizing feed ration structures, milk yield per cow has increased by about 17%, while methane emissions per cow have fallen by about 10%. During the beef cattle finishing stage, through rumen health and buffering technologies, daily methane emissions per animal have been reduced by more than 20% without sacrificing weight gain efficiency. This shows that emission reduction does not need to come at the expense of productivity. The key lies in scientific nutrition and management. Third, through digital traceability and joint standard setting, we can achieve replicability and scale. In China, Cargill is exploring blockchain traceability and digital product passports, integrating information from feed, farming, and processing to improve supply chain transparency and strengthen trust among downstream customers and consumers. At the same time, we participate in industry alliances and standards development, such as promoting low-carbon dairy ecosystem initiatives and contributing to discussions and formulation of ESG-related standards for the livestock industry. This helps turn isolated practices into shareable methods and rules, laying the groundwork for large-scale adoption. In a word, Cargill's exploration in China's livestock sector does not rely on any single technology. Instead, through the synergy of digital tools, precision nutrition, emission reduction technologies and standards, we are forming a green livestock model that is practical, replicable, and scalable. We believe that as long as all parties across the industrial chain continue to collaborate on technology and standards, China's livestock industry can absolutely improve efficiency while achieving a low-carbon transition and enhancing overall resilience. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. We'd like to know more about scale and standardization. With that, we can achieve more sustainable growth in raising livestock. I visited a hog farm in Hunan province, and it's really cute to see those little pigs running around. They have standardization where they've taught all their workers to understand about 20, 30 standards through the all life cycle of those pigs. So it's being applied very widely now. It's almost like a factory now. Yeah, every procedure has standardization. They have to tick different boxes every day. So 到了百盛，那百盛我觉得你们可以做的事情特别多，你们会在你们的这个产业链里面去
do a lot of things. You will in your industry how to encourage and pick some supply chain partners to achieve your goals, because you have to rely on your partners to achieve your goals. Thank you for your question. Indeed, because we have a lot of suppliers in China, more than 800 globally, more than 1,000. So, and of course, these suppliers have their own upstream. And in their upstream, like Mr. He and like Cargill,
真的供应商来跟他们的供应商来谈。
对，所以我们
as we just introduced in 23 and 25, we introduced the 2 alliances on PV green power and on entire industry. So we encourage our alliance members to set up their own carbon reduction goals and to stay aligned with the goals of Yum China. But every company is different, so they also need to consider their own conditions and set their goals. Every year, they share with us their goals to help them better achieve sustainable green transition. We spend a lot of time and energy in capacity building. For example, we established an online digital management platform for supplier GHG emissions. These include 2 tools. One is a GHG emission calculation tool for different procurement categories. The other is for suppliers to report on emission reduction progress. By the end of last year, If we use carbon emission as a statistical standard, then more than 70% of chicken and beef supplier and more than 50 of all purchased goods suppliers have set emission reduction targets and plans. And through the digital platform set by Yum China, they report progress annually. Based on our platform ecosystem and relying on our strong supply chain ecosystem, we continuously promote exchanges and cooperation, and we share best practices. This also brings more business opportunities. And also, as Zheng mentioned, there are a lot of chicken producers, from slaughtering to processing, from breeding, slaughtering, processing, and then to warehousing and logistics. We use a lot of energy because it requires full process cold chain control, very strict temperature requirements. But our Yum Logistics Center's cold storage service provider are very professional. They share the latest energy-saving technologies with chicken manufacturers. This has achieved very good results. Through this capacity building, digital tool adoption, in the past years we have achieved good results by the end of last year. As I shared with you, in China, we have over 18,000 stores in China. And the carbon emission of the entire value chain of purchased goods in a single store compared with 20 reduced by about 20%. So this is a good result. It has been recognized by some international ESG institutions. Yum, as the largest restaurant company in China, has a responsibility to lead the industry towards a more sustainable future. We are ready to share with you relevant experience with colleagues in the industry. I also saw that major granaries representatives are also here. We are happy to share with you experience to promote the green development of global green industrial chain. Just now you mentioned that 2026 is 20%. But so you just mentioned 20% than last year's, then the 35 goal of 66% is not that ambitious, right? Yeah, but we still need to rely on green technology and we need to do R&D, and we are confident about our intermediate goal. So, Ms. Zheng, now the adoption of scientific technologies is not a single point, but a whole set of technologies across the ecology. So how do you see this? Well, I think this is a good question about the ecology. I think in green agriculture, I want to say that innovative ecosystems, how could we respond to agricultural demands? From now, we see the huge trend is towards more open ecosystem, more professional, innovative players who will push China's agricultural innovative development to a new high. How to understand this? We just say that China's agriculture is complex. We face unprecedented opportunities, but also challenges. We see through the upgrading of high-value crops, green transformation, development of professional farms. All these represent demands of China's market. They are the driving forces for agricultural development. So what's the place of cultivar? I think we will put China's innovation into the perspective of global innovation. And we think China's innovation is very critical because we have gradually realized that China's companies, research institutions, and industry partners in their work have demonstrated impressive innovation capacity and production capacity. This is helpful for us to strengthen and deepen all-around cooperation with local partners. So we wish that we could be more open and integrate ourselves into China's innovative systems, joining hands with China's enterprises, R&D institutions, industry partners. We can introduce technologies, verify technologies when co-manufacture. We can develop new solutions. We can promote the latest discoveries. In this way, for China's industry and innovation capabilities and China's best practices, as we mentioned, China for us is not only a market to introduce technologies, but a battlefield to try on different technologies. For those verified solutions, we hope that they no longer serve China's markets, but also wish to bring them to every corner of the world. That means that while bringing innovation into China, we can also share with the world China's homemade solutions or solutions we co-develop with China and bring those solutions to other markets as well, so that we can provide new solutions, new technologies, just here starting from China. This is what we cultivate is happy to do, is happy to contribute our share.
Challenges are always there in the supply chain in renewable agriculture, but opportunities are also there. So what kind of challenges and opportunities are there, do you think can be dealt with to promote more green transition?
Thank you for your questions. So in China, we have more than 200. Hello? Okay, it's good now. Okay, so in China, we have more than 200 million farmers, and 98% is a smallholder farmer, right? And they are the backbone of our food productions in China. And for Yara, we work very close with the farmer in 15 provinces where we have like our key network there. And every day we in touch with them, communicate with them. We understand that their pain points, they want to improve the yield and the quality of their crops to improve their livelihood. However, they still want to protect their soil, their land, right? And at the same time, they still lacking of their technology, their knowledge, and their experience on sustainable farming still have there. So to Yara, we see the challenge for smallholder farmer, but also it is our missions, our priority to bring to the farmer our value. So every day in the field, our team do the knowledge transfer to the farmer, and every year we conduct around 5,000 activities to the field, including the farmer meeting, including the training to the farmer, including the mold trial to show them how can they use less fertilizer but have more yield. And I just come back from Guangxi last week to ensure that our team there always with the farmer to do the really good progress together with them. And for the other hand, if we look at the China 15-year 5 plan, it have one part is really related to the China agriculture modernizations and green transitions through innovations. And for Yara China aspirations, we totally fit in this area. So this is the reason why we have our plants in around the world. However, in China, in 2023, we have the fertigation plant open in Anhui. And for the fertigations, we bring the technology here, the driver to improve the yield and nutrition using efficiency and water using efficiency in China agriculture. And it have to reduce 30 to 40% of water use in the rural area, and around 5 to 20% of the yield increase to compare with traditional apply. And aligned with that, Yara make a really upcoming, we make a really good investment further in our Huaibei in Anhui as well to continue the process here together with China agriculture. Besides that, we bring our product portfolio is a biostimulant to introduce in China in 2023 as well. It have to improve the nutrients using efficiency and support for the soil health and protect the soil diversity inside and amplify the natural crop process and also help the crop to adapt with the stress level now with the climate change happening, right? So this product can help the crops to adapt with the stress level currently. And besides that, we talk about the AI, we talk about digital solutions. And in Yara, we also have the platform we call it Wen. The platform was developed by our China hub in 2022 with the ambition is scale up our impact to China agriculture as well. We more sharing the knowledge, we more sharing on the technology in the platform, and we also have the AI farming tool there to help the farmer to have like the really right time to apply the farmer or to combine with the smart weather to have the farming tips to the farmer. And today for the Wen Nong, we connect over 6.4 million farmers and to keep more engagement with them every day and bring further on that. In Wen Nong, we have the soil health apps applications as well, where the farmer can access there and our team can help them to have the soil measure, and from the soil measurements we can have the right advice to the farmer, how can they use the right nutrition at the right time. So this is some of like the solution we have the farmer here in China to have more of fertilizer apply in efficiency.
我看到几位嘉宾都频频点头，就是他们在做的事情，他们可能也在做，或者某种程度上。
And I see the other panelists also nodding. Actually, you are doing something that they are also doing. We are also helping our suppliers on the upstream to do the same thing. So in the end, I would like to say that the professional farmers and the farming households, like we mentioned, like the Chinese farmers are very busy.
从买种子就要开始选了，是不是？这几位
select seeds, like the companies present here provide the seeds, and the farmers buy the fertilizers, the different kinds of preparations. So, but as suppliers, we teach and work with farmers to reduce their use and to manage the soil well and to maintain the sustainability of crops. And for the deep processing, if we consume energy, we ask them to install the PVs to consume more green electricity. Then they can be recommended as partner farmers to increase their income. At the same time, they learn they study digital technologies. They need to make a recording because suppliers they are asked to
training, including finance, insurance. All these are very important for their long-term growth, so they can have more confidence to be a successful Chinese farmer for many years to come. 这样呢，总体来说呢，整个的这个农业的发展呢，才会获得更加。
So that we are able to secure stable output, price, and income increase. Thank you. A big applause for the 5 panelists.
We now
have the second panel discussion. Please join me in welcoming 黄新磊、董新磊。Deputy General Manager, Agri-Linked Corporate Banking Department, Mr. Carlos Salinas. Executive Director, East Asia U.S. Soybean Export Council, Ms. Sun Yonghua, Vice President for Corporate Affairs, North Asia at Lobes Dreyfus Company, Mr. Wen Peng, Chairman, SRON, Silo Engineering, Ms. Adelaide Gu, Chief Impact Officer, McDonald's China.
好了，我们还是一样。
So half a minute or 1 minute to introduce your business scope. And I understand that the ABC, Agricultural Bank of China, does a lot of things. We know that banks are not just about lending or providing financial solutions, but they are also driving the growth of agriculture in many ways. Over to you. So we have Sanong, the business relating to agriculture and farmers and the rural areas, so the agri-linked corporate. We serve the leading enterprises in agriculture, agricultural supply chain companies, agricultural infrastructure, and food security in the country. And it's an honor for me to have the opportunity to work with you.
Mr. Salinas, we know that we have good news that China-U.S. soybean purchase is back in big quantity and more prospects in the future. And we all love to see such improvement of relationship and improvement of trade volume. China needs soybeans. The U.S. can provide a lot, high quality of them. So tell us, how's your business recently?
It's very encouraging and very promising. We're very excited with the recent purchases. We're very excited after the 2 Trump-Xi summits. And I think they brought some very good results on trade. So the U.S. Soybean Export Council, it's a member organization. We are funded primarily by the U.S. soybean farmer. We are a nonprofit organization. Our objective is to maximize the utilization of soy around the world. And we have a very wide membership, including many over here, like Louis Dreyfus is part of our organization. We represent soybean exporters, seed companies, equipment manufacturers, among many other important stakeholders, and of course the soybean farmer of the United States.
Great, love to hear more about that. 孙总，简单介绍一下路易达孚的业务。
感谢啊，路易达孚呢成立于
So let's hear from Louis Dreyfus. Founded in 1851, we celebrate 175th anniversary of the company, and it was a French family business. And in 2020, we introduced the sovereign wealth and the fund from the Middle East. And of course, the company was registered in the Netherlands, and it was also entered into the Chinese market with the diplomatic teams of ping pong balls. And we started the first deal of cotton. And we are also the first company getting the license as a foreign invested agricultural business. We are very glad that after more than 50 years of development, now we have 12,000 employees in China with 4 of our own processing plants and 3 representative offices. We've been working in China for consecutive years to expand our investment over the last 6 years. And we see the growing of the business, and we see that the business in China accounts for 25% of the whole group. Very big share. China is a major agricultural country in the world. And our next speaker, Mr. Wen from Silo Engineering. Your company specialized in transportation and storage, right? Yes. It's a great pleasure for me to have the opportunity to attend this panel discussion. And you see from the name of our company with the name, with the keyword silo, right? It's for storage. And Our company is specialized in industrial systems for storage and transportation of bulk materials such as grains. You are right. And of course, today we mentioned the food security, which is and also you know that silo or warehousing or inventory, the storage is an important part of it to ensure food security. Today we have a gas farm, a leading agricultural business, and we are one of the very few companies that haven't been listed on the stock market to get financing. And the mission of the company is that the bulk commodities can be stored efficiently and safely, which are of key importance to the livelihood of all humanities. And we would like to build ourselves into a world-renowned industrial brand in the long run. Thank you. Of course, you know that it's a very it's an industry that requires a lot of efforts, and it doesn't have a very huge profits. Madam Gu, I met you several times. McDonald's is a long-term partner and a sponsor of the Expo. A few words about McDonald's, please. Hello, everyone. I'm from McDonald's. Speaking of McDonald's, you might think of our very delicious Big Mac and also the filet fish and French fries. There must be something you like at McDonald's. And McDonald's first restaurant in China opened in 1990. Currently, we have well over 8,000 McDonald's restaurants in China, serving over 1.4 billion customers annually. In 2017, we had important strategic cooperation in China, and now CITIC Capital Consortium has become McDonald's controlling shareholder. So we are also a Chinese-controlled American brand. We've been able to combine McDonald's global operation expertise and wisdom as well as advantages of the China market. So we have developed very smoothly in recent years. We believe that McDonald's brand mission is to bring people and the communities together with delicious food and our passion for food. Since we are in the food business, we believe that the source of food is actually the ingredients, and the upstream of ingredients is also the agriculture. So we are very interested, and also we care a lot about sustainability of agriculture. So I'm very glad to attend this panel discussion under the Expo. CITIC is a controlling shareholder, right? The management team is from the U.S., right? A few days back, at the China Development Forum held at Diaoyutai State Guest House, Chris Kempinski, the CEO of McDonald's, flew all the way from Chicago to China to attend that forum. CITIC is a controlling shareholder of McDonald's. So the CITIC Capital Consortium is a controlling shareholder of McDonald's, and the other 48% of the shares belong to McDonald's Global. So in the company that managed the McDonald's brand in China is also called Jinggongmen Golden Arches. It's a joint venture. So the management team is a local team. So, and of course, there are multiple opportunities that we bring together, the resources and advantages together. So let's get started with the Q&A. Let's start with Agricultural Bank of China. Please share with us before, in the middle, and after the production, what kind of services are provided by ABC to companies. ABC, as a state-owned bank specialized in agriculture, farmers, and rural areas, we are one of the major forces in the rural revitalization strategy. And we have already launched the service system featuring this one circle, one platform, and also this one chain, which means we focus on leading enterprises along this industrial chain, and we introduce warehouse receipt pledge loans, accounts receivable pledge loans, live animal pledge loans, and a series of other distinctive financial products to address the challenge of supply chain bottlenecks. And this one circle refers to building a 5-in-1 platform of government, banks, enterprises, university and research institute, and the guarantee providers in order to protect the development of the agricultural supply chain to form a synergy.
We integrate AI, IoT, blockchain to achieve online and offline service platform, and we keep upgrading our online products so as to achieve online application intelligent approval and autonomous disbursement. So the entire model is a chain, a circle, and a platform. Specifically before, during, after production, there are different focuses. Before production, we have 3 focuses. One is to focus on the revitalization of the seed industry. We have launched a loan for the revitalization of the seed industry. And the second focus is the construction of high-standard farmland. We have launched a loan for the construction of high-standard farmland, special loan for good farmland, and the 5-in-1 high-standard farmland construction in Lankao. The third focus is support for green financing, including degradable mulch film, this organic fertilizer, organic pesticides. During the production process, we first enhance support for large-scale planting and breeding industries. And second, we strengthen support for the circular economy in agriculture. Third, we strengthen support for smart agriculture. These 3 enhancements are our key. After production, we also have 3 focuses. One is to support the refined processing of agricultural products. Second, we will support the branding of agricultural products, realize high quality and high price. And third, we focus on supporting agricultural cold chain, and we have launched the cold chain loan product to help farmers. We support the construction of cold chain in the place of origin. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Carlos, is that I reported on this, on the U.S. soybean export to China. China used to account for almost 2/3 of all U.S. soybean export to the world. Due to some geopolitical reasons, that number dropped to 10–20%. But China recognized the quality of U.S. soybean, and we're now expanding. So what's your expectation of this bilateral trade relationship in soybean? Can you expect the quantity to raise more? How important do you think China's soybean supply chain is dependent on U.S. soybean export?
Very good question. Thank you. China is extremely important, not only to the U.S., but to the rest of the world. China imports more than 60% of the soybeans in the world. At the same time, 2 countries export 84% of the soybeans in the world. That is Brazil and the United States. So we are very pleased to have the first phase of the 12 million metric tons agreed, already shipped, and we're very excited and looking forward.
12 million metric tons.
Metric tons, that's right.
Which month?
Those were shipped already.
Already?
Now, yeah, and 12 million metric tons, that was the first phase of the agreement. Then we go to 25 million metric tons for the subsequent 3 years. But we're very excited to see that progress. It's very successful, and you're right. Quality, you mentioned quality. Quality is extremely important, right? The growing conditions that we have in the United States are very different. Not to say that one region is worse than the other. We just simply have conditions where we harvest soybeans in the fall, cool, dry conditions. We store them at sub-zero temperatures, and then those soybeans are shipped So the quality is maintained.
That's why you are nodding when
very well, right?
we talk about silo, right? Storage.
It's very important. That's why this value chain is extremely important, because our focus as the U.S. Soybean Export Council is making sure that that value chain remains efficient. We do a lot of work in China to make sure that our customers maximize all the value of all feed ingredients, but mainly soybean meal.
When those soybean leave the U.S. Commodity cargo ports, are they staying on silos on those special ships? What are
Yes,
they?
yes, we have.
Also silos.
Well, yes, every terminal will have a silo, but a port is not designed to store grain. A port is designed to handle grain, to transport it from a barge, a rail, and put it onto a vessel. We have a diverse infrastructure, which is of great value. Think about this. We can access the Pacific Ocean. We can access the Atlantic. We can go through New Orleans. We have barge transportation, rail transportation. So we're very reliable supplier logistically. We have different options. So that is very important. And we believe that our newest flow in recent history, I'm going to say the Pacific Northwest, is very exciting because it is very close to China.
Okay.
Sailing time might be only 18 days. And when you put grain in a cargo for an extended period of time, you want it to be cool, you want it to be dry, and you want the sailing time to be the shortest, right? That's part of supply chain. That's part of, I'm going to say, sustainability, carbon footprint, but that's what we provide. It's very different compared to other origins. I'm not judging that they're better or worse. It's just different.
那我就想问一下，因为石荣集团的温总一下听到 silo 就顿起来了，你们公司也运营。
The one from Sino Engineer, do you also shape U.S. soybeans? We have cooperation with U.S. companies, but in the future we hope that we have more cooperation with the U.S. Actually, silos has very strict requirements. If we don't have appropriate silos, there might be oil. Some technological details after the meeting, we can go into in-depth exchange. And that's the meaning of supply chain and connect the upstream and downstream. And Mr. Sun, you are 175 years old to operating for such a long time. That's closely related to technological iteration. How does your company currently use these technologies and some accumulated experience to improve your industrial chain upstream and downstream? As you mentioned, we are 175 years old. Last time, when our chairman visited China and exchanged with Chinese partners, the most valuable experience we have accumulated over 175 years is our experience. Not only technological innovation, which you may focus on today, because as a multinational company, we have some cross-border technological exchanges. For example, at this Expo, we showcased the heat pump. This heat pump can lower down some emissions in steam. This is the original technology from China. In Chinese factories, we use this heat pump, and now we are applying it to other factories around the world, and we're also bringing other good technologies to China. So for a multinational corporation, a huge advantage is that we can connect different areas of the world. As long as we can discover some good technologies such as green, some new things, and of course, including the silo for the soybeans, I would like to add that silos for us are very important, not only the issue of oil, but also some safety issues, especially in southern regions. When the weather is hot, there will be some compaction issues. There will also be some safety accidents. If such accidents occurs abroad, we may make some corrections in China. If this happens in China, we may also share the experience to other countries. So in terms of information and technology, for the established company, the experience itself is valuable. So let's keep talk Let's keep talking about silos. Several weeks ago, the southern and central China were hit by heavy rain. Many farms transported their grain from Hubei to Henan using local baking equipment to dry it because there was really too much. They had to dry a part of it first and let the dried grain stay for 2 or 3 days and then queue up for further drying. And then it was put into the silo, transported to other places due to different challenges. Because I think the current climate is something that people have never experienced before, including the good weather in Beijing now, with rain every day. It was still raining outside just now. So food production transportation will encounter various climate change issues. What contributions do you think your company can make in this regard? Well, what you just mentioned is a very realistic situation. Silos is a very important tool to ensure food security during rainy days. If there's no warehouse system, no reliable drying system, the grain will go bad quickly, and there will be a very important problem of grain loss. Recently, we have also noticed some major challenges in this industry. I think the first challenge is grain loss, including Mr. Sangwell mentioned the storage of soybeans and many other countries' storage. According to the data of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the global food loss can be as high as 13.2%. China is much better because China has mature silo technologies, but many developing countries, especially some African countries, have the food loss rate is even as high as 25 to 30%. That's a huge impact on food security. Another point is food supply chain. Because you just mentioned the weather, geopolitical issues, including the COVID issues, including the recent food routes, the fluctuation of fertilizer prices, the food supply chain has become more fragile. The fluctuations will become larger and larger. At the same time, upward trend of food prices is very obvious. So against this backdrop of food price fluctuations, with a reliable unified storage system, this is a very good guarantee. You just mentioned the drying system. I think we are also working on related technologies. China's drying system still has room for improvement. Including recently, we are working with some South American companies to do technological exchanges. We found that their daily yield is much higher than that in China. So we may introduce new types of silos. We may research into new technologies. I think silo engineering is a technology-based enterprise. We need to integrate equipment, technology, and experience. At the same time, for new trends, new demands, we need to develop new technologies to ensure the safety of the food supply chain. So we need to help people ensure the reliability of their food chains, and so we can provide our professional support. Thank you very much.
We recognize the importance of storage and transportation of food.
Absolutely. It is extremely important, and perhaps on the global value chain is where you have, global value chain is where you have the greatest impact. You know, areas that receive soybeans in parts of South America at harvest are very wet. They have to dry them. How you dry them is very important. How fast you dry them. Soybeans, the reason you buy them is because they have protein and they have lysine, which is a synthetic amino acid. If you don't dry them properly, you over dry them, you begin to lose the digestibility, how much of that ingredient can be used to the animal. So it's extremely important. We value in the US that we can harvest dry soybeans in cool conditions, right? And certainly China is an ideal customer because China also likes to store for the reserve. And they know that they can store the soybeans for a long period of time.
How long do we store, do you know?
Well, that's up to you, but they can certainly those soybeans can hold for a year or even longer,
right?
Under good dry conditions. When soybeans are wet, I'm going to say 12.5, even 13% moisture, temperatures, I'm going to say 30 degrees centigrade, the shelf life of the soybeans goes down very fast. So it's a different type of system, but quality matters, and certainly logistics, silos, that technology is extremely important.
Do you face climate change threats, tangible threats in the U.S. soybean growing and storage and transportation? Here in China, we have torrential rains recently. What about in the U.S.? Do we have floods, droughts, tornado, wildfire? This is what we hear in the.
No, I think we're all suffering from the same. I don't think it's particularly to any specific country, right? But having diverse logistical infrastructure matters. Having a diverse production area. For example, yes, you may have an issue, I'm going to say, in certain parts of our growing regions, but yet the other region is doing okay. So having diverse supply chain is very important. So, and clearly having the right storage conditions. In the U.S., in the interior, we have beautiful infrastructure to store soybeans as well. So once the soybeans are stored, they're kept and then shipped. So, but we all suffering from the same thing. I completely agree that the risk on the value chain is impacting us in many ways. We can dig into a little bit further later on, but it's impacting prices, it's impacting logistics, everything. Yeah.
Fantastic. This is what the supply chain is about, communicating with very useful information. 所以温总也可以去美国看看他们的大豆是怎么储存的，包括去南美看看他们大豆怎么储存的。
As to see the storage of soybeans, and also we can have a look at how South American Latin American countries are storing the soybeans. So, Madam Gu, so actually a concept was raised at last year's Expo. Because about this McDonald's chain, as the company is so big, like serving more than 1 billion of clients in China, and through the McDonald's chain, you're able to advocate sustainability-related philosophies. How's the effect now? Last year at the Expo, we were partnered with 11 suppliers in releasing China McDonald's chain, as well as our joint declaration. We have a consensus that we should work together to build the ecosystem of McDonald's chain. We should work together and in order to build a green supply chain and a digital supply chain. The McDonald's chain consists of suppliers of McDonald's globally, as well as local leading businesses. They come together to form a supply chain of McDonald's. So we call it McDonald's chain. By building McDonald's chain, on one hand, we're able to guard against the risks along the supply chain to maintain the resilience of the supply chain as we purchase more than 400 types of ingredients in China every year, and about 90% of them can already be purchased locally. In addition, the local supply chain also gives us a faster response, speed, and efficiency. Last year, the McDonald's chain declaration was announced, and since then, there have been many achievements this year. And we have also joined hands with our supply partners to participate in the this year's Expo. And we have new members of the chain, the MBRF from Brazil, which is a world-class food supply enterprise. After joining the chain, they participated in this year's Expo as an exhibitor. What do they supply? This company supply animal protein like beef. For McDonald's chain this year, we have a cross-chain empowerment opportunities. Potato supplier Micon is working with Syngenta and Sinochem. We reached a strategic partnership agreement on the upstream of potato supply. We are going to work together to see how we can grow better potatoes and increase the efficiency of a potato planting business. So we see the continuous expansion and the development of McDonald's chain. These is also a manifestation of the effect exerted by this China International Supply Chain Expo. We have a collaboration within and also outside the chain. So as a owner of a chain, we are very glad at McDonald's to join hands with suppliers on the upstream and downstream of the industrial and the supply chain. Yeah, so McDonald's is a major chain owner, and ABC is a very large-size financial institution. It is not easy for farmers to get financing from financial institutions because it's not easy to have assets to serve as a collateral to get a loan from financial institutions. Then how you can help the green supply chain development? It's about technological innovation, the precise profile of our clients by using blockchain, big data, AI, and then we can develop. We are able to push our financial products, for example, agricultural loan for farmers, and ABC's electronic financial products. And the approval and application process are fully digitalized without any human intervention and allows for self-service lending. And we have also made innovation of pledges from farmers, for example, plants, new varieties, seeds, and etc., and also live animals. In this way, we support the supply chain. The financing along the chain has been addressed to a certain degree. Thank you.
So I guess you're also familiar with financing for soybean growers in the U.S. Their business is deeply associated with the fluctuation of soybean prices globally, deeply related to the global economy, the purchasing power. So they need a lot of financing services today.
No, that is correct. Operating working capital in our business is very intensive. Soybean production, processing, exporting requires a lot of capital. So very heavily financed. We have just signed an MOU with the Bank of China as we are exploring green financing opportunities in the supply chain, which is quite interesting because you tie sustainability to the green supply chain. And I think we are exploring the possibility, right, of benefiting from the low carbon footprint of US soybeans, right? They can actually help China and help some of our customers achieve some of those lower emission targets.
Who does Bank of China lend to? US soybean growers?
They will lend to many people, but they will lend to ADM, they will lend to Bunge, they will lend to the large enterprises, large companies, right? Okay. And there a lot
exporters
of it is
or
exporters for sure. And those companies are also have maybe their own operations here, like Louis Dreyfus, like Cargill, they have own operations in China. But they are certainly part of the value chain, right? And they're looking at sustainability as an opportunity of green financing. And obviously, when you talk sustainability, you talk about low carbon footprint, US soybeans clearly become a key opportunity because one of the key drivers of sustainability is the carbon footprint, and the biggest driver behind that is land use conversion, land that you have converted from native vegetation to soybean production or agricultural production. And in the US, we haven't done that, right? As a matter of fact, we're more in reforestation instead of deforestation. So it differentiates the US compared to other areas that have expanded land, right, in different ways. So it's quite interesting.
Very interesting. Do US banks have the interest to lend to soybean growers?
Absolutely. I think it's our financial industry. I'm not a financial expert, right? But certainly you have local banks, you have regional banks, you have national banks that offer different services to the farmers. And I think it's a quite open market, quite liquid. And it's at many times financing becomes a key component, right, of your operating working capital, for sure.
We understand the growers, many of them are big growers, corporations, big farms. Do they get access to different kinds of financial products like futures, derivatives?
You know, the interesting part is 95% of the soybean farmers, over 95% are family farms. As a matter of fact, we have here with us Jerry Slocum, a farmer from the state of Mississippi. He's joining us. Jerry, lift up your hand.
Hi, welcome. Oh, wow, gentlemen. How many generations have your family been? 5 generations. You're 5th, like the Yellowstone owners.
But just imagine if you define sustainability, what better definition of sustainability do you have? Transferring the same land 5 generations in better conditions than it was before. There's a term that I heard, and I spent time with the farmers. I heard a new term called the soil bank. I said, what is a soil bank? Well, that is the organic matter that we have on the soil, and our soil has organic matter, and we continue to protect it with the different technologies that we discussed in the previous panel. I will not expand, crop rotations and different tools that are used to protect that soil. But the soil is the most important asset that the farmer has, right?
Okay. And welcome to China. Hope your 6th, 7th generation of soybean growers continue to do business with China. We do hope so too. 孙总，路易达福在这方面就是。
And then for Louis Dreyfus. And I believe there are technologies for circular economy. What are the technologies adopted to decarbonize to achieve the ESG targets? Thank you so much. We released a commitment by 2030. If we use 2022 as the baseline, we are going to reduce 33.6% of emissions by 2030 compared with the 2022 levels. And we calculate the emissions of every company under our group. And we also input those the figures into our return on investment models. This has actually increased our investment cost. It's painstaking, but we are following the commitment and targets made by the group. A lot of very good, because in green energy, a lot of China's technologies have been applied very widely, quite leading in the world. And we've been expanding these technologies to other parts of the world. And we use clean energy in the 4 factories in China and at our company, in addition to agricultural product trading and processing. In the shipping sector, we also engage in the shipping business. Every moment during the day, there are like 300 ship vessels transporting goods on the sea around the world. We also use offshore wind power to save the use of electricity and to reduce emissions. We try to use advanced shipping or transportation methods with lower energy consumption. For example, we use trains to transport dry bulk soybean meal in Guangzhou. There are other practices from our company. Green and environmental protection goes through the whole process of our business, from construction investment of factories to our operations. There are a lot of interesting points. Feel free to visit our factories. Thank you for sharing with us the explorations and practices. Mr. Wen, I would like to mention a report by CCTV. Because of weather, after the harvest of wheat, unfortunately, some gone bad. There are different types of spoilage. If it spoils a little bit, so people cannot eat them, then we give to the animals. And if it goes on, then it's not edible for animals, but it can be used in industries for fermentation or other purposes. And I believe your company possess rich experience in warehousing and the storage. The loss rate in underdeveloped countries and regions can be as high as more than 13.5%, and it is around 6% in China or within 5%.
这也在整天
China has a traditional value in food. Wasting food is considered like a crime. We have ads like every grain comes with hard work. So can we even lower than 5%? Yes, we do have opportunities. I just mentioned we are also developing some new technologies. These opportunities come from these new technologies. Currently, we do have some technologies to share with you. The first is the sealing technology of the steel silo. As you just mentioned, on rainy days, putting grain in the silo is on the one hand. On the other hand, the silos cannot leak. This is very important. We are working on some patents. For steel plate silos, they are made of two plates connected with bolts. At the middle of the bolts, we can even raise fish. And this is one point. And the second is the technology of insulated steel plate silos. As the U.S. friend just mentioned, the entire storage cycle of soybeans, if it's under the condition of 30 degrees, the storage time will not be very long. But if it's reduced to 16 to 18 degrees, the storage time become very long, just like wine, even a year. It has requirements for the environment. Currently, the mainstream steel silos may be more of this kind of non-insulated steel silo. So if we combine the steel silo with the insulation material of the refrigerator, so as to ensure the whole grain is controlled at the appropriate temperature inside, which is very beneficial to the quality of grain and long-term storage. We will also make the steel silo into a power supply because the system of silo storage and transportation has many power-consuming equipment. So we use the wall and the roof of the steel silo to put PV panels. On the one hand, it can reduce energy consumption of the whole system. On the other hand, because the PV panels absorb the heat on the steel silo, it also plays a very big role in protecting the safe storage of grain. There is another technology which is also very interesting and may be used in many fields in the future, that is underground grain storage technology. But if you do so, is the cost very high? Yes, there are many technical barriers. The volume of red wine is very small. But if you want to store thousands of tons of grain underground, it's a big challenge because there's water underground and high humidity. We have overcome these technical difficulties. We have the technical conditions and guarantees to store grain underground. Storing grain underground because there is no sunlight underground. The temperature can be kept at like 60 to 18 degrees Celsius all year round. So the rest of the work is to control humidity. And underground grain areas are very concealed. You can also plant greenery on it, so it's not easy to find. That's suitable for some strategic storage.
U.S. satellite might not find that China saving trillions tons of food underground, right? I mean, we're just joking. Yeah, but this is technology that everyone should get access to. You know, food security benefits everyone. 我们最后一个问题给那个麦当劳的顾总，就是去年您是提出了慢链，3年前呢是提出了这个。
You proposed the McDonald's chain, and 3 years ago you proposed the regenerative agriculture. Could you share with us the outcomes? Actually, McDonald's has been focused on the development of sustainable agriculture. In 2023. We joined forces with our 9 core suppliers at the time, and together we launched the McDonald's China Regenerative Agriculture Program. And over the past 3 years, with the joint efforts of our suppliers, we have actually made a lot of particularly fruitful progress. This afternoon, we just announced some of our progress, and I'm very happy to share with you today. Basically, 4 aspects. First is we have expanded the concept of regenerative agriculture. In the past 3 years, we have been focusing on broilers and potatoes. We are constantly deepening our cultivation of farmers. We have cultivated about 9,000 farmers who have mastered the concept of regenerative agriculture. Secondly, we expand the pilot of regenerative agriculture. The concept covers 5 areas itself, includes nature, water, soil, livestock, and farmers. And we have some pilot units in these areas, and so we hope that to learn from the success of some pilots, to duplicate experience and to scale up. And the third aspect is we have been promoting the development and implementation of the concept of regenerative agriculture. For example, in planting potatoes, we have achieved 100% crop rotation. For example, planting for 1 year, then resting for another year. In that resting year, we plant something else. So we have achieved 100% rotation for 1 year. We're also promoting 2-year and 3-year rotations. In this way, the soil actually has more fertility. And the fourth aspect is that our circle of friends is growing. We work with industrial associations, the think tank, China Agricultural University, and industry partners to discuss the practices of regenerative agriculture, the concept of RA, and to better implement RA in China. This morning, we also talked together with Syngenta and Yara to release the regenerative agricultural practice standard manual. We hope that more companies and more industries could join us. We work together because RA is to protect agriculture from the source. So we also hope that the McDonald's we can work together, protect nature, and make our nature sustainable and produce more fresh food. Thank you very much. Due to time constraints, we will stop there for the second round. And we still have the third round. I won't summarize for this round because everyone speaks very impressively. I was not following the outline, so thank you very much. Let us give them a big round of applause once again. Now we move on to the third round. We invite the moderator, Ms. Fang Li, Country Director, World Resource Institute, Beijing Representative Office. Panelists include Mr. She Duanzhi, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs, Walmart, Mr. Yang Bibing, Vice Chair, Optimizing Integration Group, Mr. Manuel Sanchez, China Director, U.S. Grants Bioproducts Council, Mr. Gary Zhang, Senior President of China Marketing Center, Sharon Pork Pant Group, and Ms. Qin Ling, Vice President for Public Affairs, Mars China. Thank you. We're now at the last stage, but I also believe the most impressive stage of the conference. The 5 participants come from different links of the supply chain. So in the previous two links, we talked about green technologies, about technological coordination and global-oriented green supply chain. We exchanged a lot. We shared some practices. So for this link, we will talk about brand empowerment and increasing the competitiveness of agricultural value. This is the core of every company. Speaking of a brand, you may think of logo. For agriculture, brand are much more than that. Behind the brand, there are standards, trust, the certainty of the supply chain, from growing well into selling well, and distributing our revenue and profits very well. So I will go straight to the point. How can we the 15th five-year period plan has clarified that we need to have technology-driven green quality and brand agriculture. But a practical challenge is that in China, the agriculture is like we have mountains surrounding, but there's no peak. This is the pattern in China. We still lack a brand with international influence and widespread national recognition. So we are very fortunate to have with us so many institutions with national recognition and brand influence. And for the first round of question, we would like to invite every one of you, each 1 minute, to introduce yourself, your experience. Everyone has rich experience, but you only have 1 minute. Please, we start from Mr. She. Thank you, host. Thank you for the opportunity. I come from the corporate affairs of Walmart. I'm responsible for government relationship, communication and PR, public welfare and sustainable development. I want to introduce myself. Let me introduce the company. Everyone may know Walmart, which was established in US in 1962, and we entered China in 1996. So there are two business formats. One is the supercenter, the other is Sam's Club. Currently, we have over 60,000 employees in China with more than 300 stores. Business doing very well. We have great confidence in China. Mr. Yang. Good afternoon, everyone. Optimized Integration Group is not that familiar to you because we do supply chain services. The food you eat, some of them comes from Optimized, but we won't label Optimized Integration Group on the food. But as long as imported food in your refrigerator, the frozen food like meat, like seafood, about on average, 1/6 of them come from the supply chains of Optimized Integration. Like imported steak, 1 out of 5 steaks come from Optimize, and also like the chicken, and also shrimps. And for export, we're also working hard. So, for example, the chicken, the fried potatoes are being exported to more and more countries. The national circulation, China is very huge, different areas, different products. Supply demand match and production, selling, matching, we still have great potential. So.
Thank you, Ms. Fang. You mentioned brand recognition in Chinese companies earlier, and I thought about one specifically that jumped to mind, and that's Haidilao. That's a company that, for me personally, I'm seeing more and more of their expansion globally. So there are brands that are coming. That brings me to my organization and what I do. My name is Manuel Sanchez, and it's certainly a pleasure to be with you here and be with the audience. I am the country director for the U.S. Grains and Bioproducts Council, and our ingredients go into the animal food sector specifically. The U.S. Grains and Bioproducts Council maintains a physical presence in China, or has maintained a physical presence in China for over 40 years. We've been, similarly to my counterpart, Carlos Salinas, in the U.S. Soybean Export Council and the U.S. Wheat Council and many others. We're about close to 24 U.S. cooperators that have been here on the ground in China for many years supporting the industry. For us in particular, my focus is on promoting American grain exports, including corn, sorghum, barley, through strong relationships with our Chinese importers, government, state-owned enterprises, and also working to develop and expand the markets for our end users, our customers who utilize our grains to feed their livestock, and then that product makes it into the supply chain here in China. Thank you for this opportunity.
好，谢谢Sanchez 先生。那我们有请郑。
Mr. Sanchez, then Mr. Zhang from CP Group. Thank you very much. So a lot of audience, Chinese audience and consumers who heard about a program, the CP program, started from 1990 in China on China Media Group. A very very popular one, but it actually broadcasted for 35 years. And the CP Group actually started from Shantou in Guangdong province. The cultivated vegetable seeds were exported to Southeast Asian countries, including Thailand. So it's like in the movie from Thailand and Malaysia. And the CP was founded 105 years ago, and the company was specialized in agriculture in the beginning, and it has been in the Chinese market for 47 years. And we are one of the companies invested in China as a foreign invested company since the reform and opening up. Then we started to more diverse business. Like a chicken, for eggs, and for meat, and also pork, pig farming. We also have a growing business because nowadays in China, it is advocating farm the crop and the livestock integration. And now we extend from the animal farming and to slaughtering to the processing of food, and also animal protein products are sold in the market. Thank you very much. Then from Mars, Madam Qing, please. Thank you. Good afternoon. We are the last panel here, and this is also a test of your patience and your ability to endure hunger, as we are talking about a lot of delicious food during this panel. A few words about Mars. So Mars means the planet Mars, but also we are a company on the Earth. With more than 100 years of history. It was founded in the U.S. in 1911 as a family business, not listed on the stock market. There are a lot of very catchy phrases in the advertisement, like melt in your mouth, not in your hand, and indulge in the silky smoothness. So we have brands like Dove, Snickers, M&M, and also Extra, and etc. And also we produce food for pet in your family. And so for about 37 years, our business in China includes snacks for human as well as delicious food for pets. So today I'm going to talk about this brand and also the upstream and how we are able to bring greater benefits to consumers and the whole society through greener development of agriculture. Thank you, Madam Qing. So from the first round of intervention, no matter in the market, in the refrigerator, the snacks and the brands, and also the support behind the brands, we see that brands have built trust with consumers. So the first round of question is about to build a trustworthy brand. The underlying logic is to follow a recognized standard. So from as a leading company along the supply and the industrial chain, so how do you manage the standards to lay the foundation for trust from the consumers? And I would like to ask our first speaker, Mr. Shu, and we know that Walmart is a well-known brand as a flagship supermarket in China, introducing a way of consumption into China. And the company has also built the brand of trust in China. So in the agricultural sector, what are the specific practices, especially management of your brand and the supply chain, as well as standards? So let me share with you some information about our company. So we have about 300 stores, including 67 Sam's Club in China. I believe many of you visited our stores, no matter online or offline. So because in Beijing, we have 5 Sam's Club in Beijing, and we own also 270 Walmart supercenters. In recent years, it has maintained double-digit growth, especially Sam's Club. Its business has grown very rapidly. In the last fiscal year to January 2026, the fiscal year ended on January 31st. The total sales of Walmart in China exceeded 170 billion yuan, with over 80% contributed by Sam's Club. Starting from last year, Walmart has also been gradually introducing double-digit growth in its supermarkets. So why has it grown so well? I want to answer the moderator's question. It's about trust. It's the trust that we built into the brand and with our consumers. So they trust the brand of Walmart and Sam's Club because these brands represent high quality, health, service, fast response, delivery services, and good experience. The trust is the most important factor. As the moderator asked, Walmart work on the user's end. We do not locate on the upstream of agriculture. And we've gained insights from our consumers. We know what they want. As we are talking about that, we pursue health, simplicity, fresh, green, nutritious food. These are consistent with philosophy of Walmart. And you know that Walmart's philosophy is spending less and living better. One major measurable indicator is that consumers buy high-quality products. And in our sales in China, 60 to 70% are food-related, among which fresh food account for about 40 to 50%. Therefore, the requirements for food suppliers are quite stringent. And of course, we have our own standards, processes, and systems which can be said to be higher than the national standards. And we manage the whole process from the supplier access, qualification, management, supervision, after-sales service, and etc. There is a complete set of processes. So I want to say that today in China, the truly good and high-quality agricultural product suppliers enjoy a very promising future. If a company becomes a supplier of Walmart, this is equivalent to a very attractive brand. where does trust come from? How does the trust come about? Externally depends on laws, standards, systems, but internally, and I think it's about our corporate culture, our integrity. One of the 4 values of Walmart is to act with integrity, which means we don't only abide by the laws and regulations, we act with integrity. From our insights of consumers, we look for our suppliers who can satisfy our requirements in supplying high-quality products to our consumers. We use our regulations to constrain them, help them, and empower them, and grow together with them. We have cultivated many suppliers in China who have grown together with us, like hundreds of millions and even billions. Thank you, Mr. Shu. You mentioned a very interesting thing that Walmart grows together with the suppliers, and there is a set of standards that are even more stringent than the national standards. When a supplier is Walmart's supplier, it is highly recognized in the society. Our organization, WRI, has done a lot of work relating to green finance to see whether the chain owner companies can leverage their capability to provide transition finance opportunities to small and medium-sized suppliers. So I hope Mr. She can share with us these examples. And my next question goes to Dr. Yang. We know that Optimize Integration Group is this chain owner company, a leading company in the global temperature-controlled agricultural product industry chain. You mentioned it has connected the supply chain network of more than 200 countries and regions around the world. When it comes to trade, some Chinese agricultural products are grown well but not well known. So what are the problems and the bottlenecks if a brand wants to go global? What kind of support they should access? Or what kind of standards should be adopted to help those companies to grow their global business? From the perspective of trade, how can you help these Chinese companies? A very good question. This is a key question for our company, Optimize Integration. We have positive and negative cases that we can share about our clients. We do imports. On one hand, we import products from major brands from foreign countries. Of course, some are good, some are not that good. We also export Chinese branded products. Like you said, there are products with no brands or weak brands. It's not easy for them to grow their global business. I took a look. A brand is weak, or there is no brand at all. Second, the brands are too loose. They work on their own. Third is this decline of a brand. It's a word I created because the transmission of a brand is like a chain. So there are a decline or decay in the middle. And number 4, it is unstable. For example, fruits may be delicious this year, but it might not be the case the next year. So the quality is not stable. Or type of product didn't sell very well. And then the farmers change to other varieties or other types of products. So we need to do more work to promote the brand, and we should learn from our international counterparts. We have representatives of well-known international brands here, and we have industry associations, and we have delegations attending the Expo, attending the seminar, and we should learn from the bigger and well-known brands. And about the loosely managed brands, You know that China is promoting geographical indication products or establishing cooperatives and etc. so that we can make a feast together. And no matter the logistics, the reduction of cost, the branding, we should do better in improving the brand penetration. About instability, this means we require standards to measure why this product is delicious. We should have standards to quantify that. In the short term, the country has plans, government provides support, and there are efforts in developing the companies, informing the ecosystem in the industry.
So as a platform company, when we facilitate the flow of the trade of the goods, we also facilitate our customers in the aspects I just mentioned to raise their brand awareness. Thank you, Mr. Yang. I think this for comprehensive enterprises in China, especially who want to go global, is extremely helpful. Not only standards, doing good is not enough. You need to be seen. There's a lot that companies and governments can do, like geographical indicators, and which have some regulations, international negotiation and trade. So I think it's really helpful. I want to ask.
美国谷物协会在中国也是深耕了40多年了。
Being operating in China for 40 years, you just named a lot of agricultural products. The Council has been promoting the global trade of these goods from the perspective of the public governance of those agricultural products, how to standardize the U.S. standards, European standards, how to connect these different standards. On the other hand, the data transparency, how can you ensure that we can trace? And in global produce trade, how can you realize sustainable value and build trust? This involves different standards, the mutual recognition, I believe.
Reliability is very important. You got to make sure that you're a reliable producer. And I think I alluded to, obviously, the years that we have been here on the ground working with our producers. But just being on the ground is not the only way to assure that we're providing the best value for our customers. We, from a U.S. perspective, are very fortunate that not only we have great producers, great farmers, but we also have the backing of the U.S. government through the Federal Grain Inspection Services. So every shipment, when you buy a cargo of U.S. corn or U.S. soy or many of our commodities, you get a certification from the U.S. government that commodity, that cargo has been inspected. And it's been federally inspected. So it's a certificate that it's worth the value, that it's backed by the federal government, that you know you have an assurance right behind that cargo, that cargo, that what you purchase, you know that you're going to receive that same grade without going into much detail. So that's from an inspection perspective. That's something that we have been following and we issue and we continuously do. But we also have to innovate, and we also have to think about the future and make sure that we stay on top of our customers' needs. And what we're seeing, and as a byproduct of that, in addition to that federal inspection agency that supports us, we, from a U.S. Grains and Bioproducts Council perspective, recently rolled out our U.S. Corn and Sorghum Sustainable Assurance Protocol, which is a framework that promotes sustainability in both corn and sorghum industries by providing a consistent guidelines for environmental responsible production. It encourages sustainable farming practices that protect soil health, water quality, and the biodiversity, and requires participants or farmers to undergo a verification process to certify compliance with established sustainability standards. So this is in addition to the federal inspection certificate that we currently issue. This is optional. Our customers that need it, that might require it, could apply and receive the certificate.
Yeah, there's another following question for that. You mentioned about the farmers and also the government giving the certification. How about the cost? When we talk about the traceability in the agriculture sector, the cost is always the difficult part and challenges. And who will pay for that? Is it small and medium-sized farmers or the government or the traders? Who take the...
I love this question, and thank you for asking it. Because you could try to produce the best possible product, but if our customers are unable to access it because of cost as a barrier, then it's a limiting factor. So I talked about two specific certification. The FGIS certificate that you get when you buy a U.S. cargo, that is included in the sale of the commodity. That it's standard, there's a standard fee, and usually that's already included when you buy it. That's something that the U.S. system allows for and accounts for. Our commodities have to compete with every other producer around the world, so we have to have a competitive pricing. The sustainability certificate, that's something that our customers don't have to pay for. It's free. So there's no specific charge that we as an organization charge for this. This is already included as long as they made the purchases and they could justify that they were the ones that made the purchases, they could go into a system and get this certificate. So at no cost to our end user.
But at the end, the cost will be distributed in everywhere, right?
So no, this certificate is based on a framework that our producers, our farmers adhere to. So there's no additional charge to them or to our customers around the globe.
Okay, thank you. I hope that the AI technology might be support in the future for some certification on like the no deforestation or kind of the non-illegal deforestation. So that is using high technology to lower down the transaction cost.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's certainly developments in AI, but we have to remember that we're producing a crop each year. And when you produce a crop, you depend on Mother Nature. You depend on the rain, you depend on the sun. And certainly AI is going to assist our producers, but they still have to go out on the field and grow a crop. And that's something that, you know, we really depend on our earth, Mother Nature, to allow us to grow a crop each year.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And let's go back. 我接下来想请问那个张总啊，我们确实都是。
I want to go back to Mr. Zhang. We grew up watching Zheng Da variety show. We know that publicity is very important. How has your company, through the whole industrial chain, because publicity alone may not be enough? I know it's very difficult because the whole industrial chain involves many companies, involves many stakeholders. So how do you control the overall situation? Actually, when Shara Bank entered China, it started with investing in the feed business. The feed was mainly supplied to farmers, including our farming and our client farmers. Later, it gradually began to engage in the food business, which includes farming, slaughtering, and processing. So in the early days, our business scope and sales targets were mostly what we call top clients, including exports to Japan, to other Southeast Asian countries, some European countries. So for exports, we need to ensure that our clients and the partners can see how our products are manufactured. We will tell them we have a complete industrial chain with full traceability, and the factories we built, like the off-season factory, the pig farm, all have so-called visiting corridors, and some are visualized. Recently, we use IoT technologies to protect some creatures. We can remotely monitor the conditions in our breeding, such as the air temperature, humidity, CO2 concentration. If necessary, we need to do some solutions or discharge it. So this is full traceability from farm to table. So our eggs, our pork have their digital identity. This is the first one. They can understand, they can see, and even our partners and our customers can visit our factory on site. So be it the Sam's Club or the Hema or Pang Donglai or Costco or local strong retailers, they have the opportunity to visit our factories. We also serve tens of thousands of catering. Some large chain catering have very high requirements for quality. I just learned from, for example, McDonald's has harsh requirements for upstream suppliers. So we welcome you to visit our factories. In terms of controlling costs, we also serve some companies like KFC. We are the second largest supplier of KFC. And the third one is our products like our eggs. For 20 consecutive years, have been supplied to the athletes of the Training Bureau of the General Administration of Sport of China for 20 years. So they have been eating our eggs for 20 consecutive years. In fact, they will test each batch of eggs. If the quality is not good, they may not trust us. It's impossible for them to continue to eat our eggs. So this is how we build our trust. In China, we also do some innovation, some agricultural cooperation, the 4-in-1. For example, some local farmers and governments and banks combined with sharing pork fat. Pork Pand is an international enterprise. Its brand overseas is called CP. Some foreign companies and distributors know the CP brand. They know that we are a global enterprise and also diversified. To them, we are trustworthy, including some repetitive orders. I believe that this is how we gradually build our trust and reliability. So next step, we wish to empower our own upstream goods, for example, some livestock goods. Thank you, Zhang. I think from the perspective of brand building, you all mentioned something in common. For example, how could we satisfy the needs of customers? Customer needs are increasing. How can we turn that into our standards and requirements? So I want to ask Ms. Qin, for customers' needs, for cultural consumption product, in addition, you also need to provide emotional value. How can you translate customer needs into your products and also into your requirements for industrial chains? Thank you for mentioning emotional value, because I think in today's world, brand is not only a name that we are familiar with. Brand also represents a concept, idea, a soul of a company. So if you want to talk about a brand's role for green agriculture, I think there are three aspects. First is brand's internal motivation. What a brand wants to be. For example, incessant innovation, or stay safe, or green, or inclusive, or colorful, or everything. So the self-requirements of a brand for itself, so be it multinational or local successful brands, in shaping your brand, we also need to think in this brand what we want to put in. This will affect what we do. We often say tomorrow starts today at Mars, China. What we do today may shape what the world will look like tomorrow. So second, influence. The brands be for regulators, the policymakers or industry colleagues or consumers, we have influence. So in setting standards, in expanding markets, in learning from each other in terms of best practices, we can draw on brand influence to maximize our outcomes. The third is imagination. We not only see what we do today, we also need to envision tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or even the long days to come, what we will face.
And how we can be prepared earlier. At Mars, we see regenerative agriculture, and also 2 decades ago, we identified challenges faced by the peanut industry in China. China is a big country of peanuts, a big consumer, and also a big importer. Of course, China is not the largest exporter of peanuts. This is related with the varieties of peanuts 20 years ago. China's peanut variety at the time was relatively a very common variety, while the world's leading countries like US and Argentina produce other varieties of peanut with high, they have excellent varieties called high oleic acid peanuts. And they are resistant to storage, possess low risk, high yield, and also other benefits. So, but back then, 20 years ago, the planting area of high oleic acid peanuts was almost zero. But today, we see it is over 10 million more of high oleic acid peanuts, which is 1.5 times that of Argentina. So what I want to say here is that brands can leverage their impact to shape the future they would like to see, as well as shaping a more efficient and fairer future. Thank you, Madam Qing. Instead of passively responding to consumers' demands, we are discovering with our imagination of consumers' demands. Let's come back to Mr. Shou. Walmart, as we mentioned before, Walmart directly works with consumers. Consumers' needs are transferred to Walmart, and Walmart is adopting even higher standard than how you leverage the power of the brand to impact the consumers and to impact the suppliers, and what kind of support is provided to suppliers. Why I'm interested in this is that China is implementing a new national strategy called the low carbon transition. And at the end of April, a policy document was introduced called the Guidelines for Green and Low Carbon Supply Chain of Central Enterprises for all central government enterprises. There is a requirement for central enterprises and SOEs. The suppliers must meet the requirements of low carbon and green, and the products purchased must also meet the requirements of green and low carbon. So I want to ask about Walmart experience, as it is already taking the lead in the market. And how do you adapt to the needs of the new era and also to become a competitive enterprise? Yes, first of all, Walmart has a project called regeneration. From green energy to reducing waste to circular economy to regeneration, sustainability, and among others. We designed our own goals. and of course higher than the goals set by the national and local governments. We also have these kind of requirements for our suppliers. To be Walmart supplier, they must meet these conditions. Actually, we are already doing this. To be Walmart supplier, they should meet these requirements. What about they fail to meet these criteria? We provide training and also field visit. We provide them with guidance, and also we interact with international counterparts. Additionally, for those that truly meet the standards, especially in terms of emission reduction, environmental protection, sustainability, we have suppliers who are doing really well, and we provide them with financial support or more like a preferential policies. We didn't just set the standard and put them aside. We empower our suppliers with various kind of projects. Thank you, Mr. Shu. At WRI, we work with two types of chain leaders. One type is that with standards, but putting aside. We work with those meeting the standards and say goodbye to those who fail to meet the standards. Another type is that they would like to help the suppliers. We send technicians and engineers to make renovation and to introduce new technologies. Does Walmart make this kind of separation? What kind of suppliers you help? Do you have a criteria? Of course. We have multiple criteria. As we are talking about green and sustainability, it's just one type of criteria, but it is important. And more importantly, about whether the product meets our requirements. Firstly, to be a Sam's Club supplier, their products should be differentiated. For example, products cannot be bought elsewhere. Second, high quality. And which is higher than the average requirement on the market. For example, ingredients, freshness, shelf life, and etc. Outperforming other competitors on the market. Thirdly, scale. The suppliers should have the supply capacity. As I mentioned before, there are 67 Sam's Clubs in China with a sales revenue of 140 billion yuan per year. You divide that by 67. You do the math. So, of course, green and low carbon sustainability are important indicators, but we have other criteria, and we also work and guide our suppliers. We provide the training. We have our suppliers' annual supply conference. The suppliers can communicate, can exchange views with each other. Thank you. We see that a chain leading company are mobilizing and working with their suppliers to provide differentiated products, prices, high-quality products, large-scale services. The chain owners, this is a very big recognition. Then Mr. Yang, about the digitalization. We stopped halfway about the discussion on digitalization, how to help agricultural brands reduce costs, improve efficiency, and use digitalization to empower the entire industrial chain. Since your company specializes in import and export, what kind of new practice you can share with us? In this digital era, we can say everything can be empowered by digitalization. First of all, branding Just now I talked about decline or decay of a brand. Then how do we convey a brand? The brand owner on its own platform, its distributor, the small businesses, and the consumers. It's a chain, and such a chain cannot be crossed directly, especially for food and agricultural products. Then what we do? Should do a good job on our own platform. We bundle the brand with our platform. We export to overseas market to make it acceptable for the local markets. This is how a brand is conveyed or transmitted. Second, exposure of a brand, visibility of a brand. Last night in Beijing, our group has a global center just opposite the Silk Street Market. One of the missions of this global center is to provide our clients with a window for Chinese brands, Chinese products to go global, and to provide a window for overseas brand to tap into the China market. Another one is customer experience. We know we need customization, personalization. It's not easy in the past. However, with the help of digitalization, it's easier for us to adapt to the needs of our products, to the needs of clients, to provide our clients with better user experience. The next one is risk control, especially for food and the produce. It's not about it should be very high-end. We should do a good job in controlling the quality to avoid black swan incidents. Then you've accomplished 70 to 80% of the tasks. So for our company, optimize integration, we use digitalization to do risk control, to build a foundation for brands. Another one is a customer stickiness. With our system, we push information and we directly connect the data to understand each other better, as well as to enhance customer stickiness. In the end, we are able to lower the cost and increase efficiency to empower the brands. Thank you. Dr. Yang, a bit abstract, but I hear that you mentioned to reduce the decline of the brand, and also it is important to communicate the brand. And no matter the final consumer or the intermediary consumers, we adopt various approaches to increase stickiness. My question to Sanchez. Just now we talked about transparency and digitalization. Then how data transparency and sustainability certification can increase the trust with upstream and downstream? And what's the experience of your council, and what kind of experience you can share with the agricultural brands in China? If you would like to propose some recommendations for the Chinese government or companies. Just now we talked about the glorious side, but we are faced with multiple challenges. And the country is releasing new policies. Sanchez.
Thank you very much for that question. To put it into context and give you some background, we as a membership-based organization have members. Our members are the ones that physically commercialize or sell into the market. We're just here to assist, to develop markets and do our best to enable trade and ultimately benefit our customers. Transparency is very important. And for us personally at the Grains Council, this is something that we take to heart. Our products that we promote, as I mentioned, are corn, barley, sorghum, and their byproducts, including dry distillers grains, and also ethanol for biofuels as a product that we promote. We promote an agricultural product that every year, because we depend on Mother Nature to produce a crop, the crop could vary in quality. Sometimes we have a very large crop, or sometimes we will have a smaller crop. So it's important for us as an organization to go out and engage our customers each year to inform them of the quality of the crop, how big the crop is, but also what is the physical characteristics of that crop. In the case of corn, we issue a corn harvest quality report, and we also issue a sorghum quality report, where these reports, which we provide insights into the quality and condition of the U.S. crop. These reports also assess the quality attributes, as I mentioned. Moisture is one of them, test weight, kernel hardness. The idea here is to help our stakeholders understand the condition so that they can make better informed decisions on when to buy. In the case of China, China is a large corn producer, so they might not buy corn every year, but every couple of years they look to restock to keep strategic reserves, or also China might have a bad year where they don't grow sufficient crops domestically, and they will need to import. So that's where we keep transparency, I would say, at the forefront. In terms of recommendation, as I mentioned, we promote the export of U.S. dry distillers grains and also ethanol. These are very important commodities that could certainly enhance and support the industry, specifically the dairy sector. I think about pig producers today in China who could really access some alternative proteins. That would be my only suggestion.
Thank you very much. I heard a very important word, biofuel, a new industry, alternative protein. So that is also very kind of the important and some direction of the sectors, and especially during the carbon neutrality, many discussion in China also on biofuel, but how about the competition, the food and the fuel, the competition on land use? So that is also, we need to do some more research on that.
Yeah, I think that there's a stigma regarding, biofuels. For us personally, we look at food and fuel, feed and fuel. They could go hand in hand, because to produce biofuels, you have a byproduct. So a big chunk, over a third of our corn crop goes into the biofuel sector. But what people neglect, or they don't always mention, is that a third of that comes back to the food sector as co-products. Dry distillers grains is an incredibly valued co-product. Every year, on average, the U.S. produces around 45 million metric tons of dry distillers grains. It's a byproduct of the ethanol industry, and that is extremely valuable for our dairy sectors, our ruminant sector in the U.S., and we also export DDGS across the globe. We export, on average, 1 million tons a month, 12 million metric tons a year. And not so long ago, China was one of the largest buyers in the world of that product.
So let's recommend next year's supply chain forum set up a special topic on that.
Absolutely, it would be my honor.
Okay, thank you. 下面我有请那个郑大。
Next, Mr. Zhang from CP. Similar questions related to digitalization, because AI is a problem that we cannot bypass. It can help us improve efficiency and transparency, but it may also add some costs. Compared with brand publicity, the trust brought by digitalization is irreplaceable, especially for many things we need to ensure traceability. How do you see this? Digitalization or traceability, we need to date back to 2010 and 2013. For example, in Beijing, at the time we established Asia's first single largest the single largest chicken project in Asia. There were only 18 chicken houses, but each chicken house had about 116,000 layers producing eggs. We needed to monitor the air, temperature, and carbon dioxide emissions. We also had an inspection robot which emits ultraviolet rays to monitor each chicken, its physical condition and feeding status. If there's a problem, it will be promptly reported to our backend, and we need to handle immediately. If we don't, that may affect the health of the entire 160,000 laying hens. That would be the huge loss. So from the perspective of quality, we use high-speed cameras to take pictures to see if the eggs are in good condition, and we use some high-frequency ultrasonic vibrations to see if the texture of the eggs were cracked. Finally, we removed some bad eggs. These are some technological innovations in productions. In addition, we are currently participating in the this is not the first year. We have showcased in the previous year. We have a pig farming project with many live pigs in Inner Mongolia. We also use a lot of IoT devices to monitor different age groups of pigs in each pig's chi. We can also monitor their growth process, including their feeding, which ones eat more and which ones eat less, which ones are lacking and which ones are excessive. We need to calculate it digitally. If we don't do this, it may be impossible to reduce costs. And sometimes we may not even be able to detect problems with the pigs. Because of such a large scale, with millions of live pigs, many rural areas may not even have a population of 1 million. The weight of pigs may even be higher than that of humans, so they also need a lot of care, observation. If everything is done by humans, it may be impossible to take care of them all. So, the current labor cost we can't find so many people, so we need to use digitalization to help us manage, obtain enough information, and prevent some possible diseases. In the end, our aim is to ensure that we can produce healthy and safe food. And in the supply chain, we also need to use a lot of digitalization because many products require cold chain distribution. So in the temperature control needs to be seen. We have another digitalization approach, import some durians from Thailand. We also find an orchard first, and then through certification, transport them to China. Because the fruits are very perishable. The same tree, the fruits on the shady side and sunny side may be different. So we must first select and then sort and then deliver. For all this, we need digitalization to ensure quality. We cannot guarantee 100%, but we try our best to work towards 100%. Give consumers a better experience. We have been doing this for 5 years, importing fruits from Thailand and also sheep farming imported from Thailand. We also use AI to detect the turbidity of the water, the oxygen level, the shrimp's feeding, the excrement, the concentration. We need to use digitalization and AI to help us solve these problems and send out some signals so that we can better manage. This is how I understand how digitalization can play a role. Thank you, Zhang, for vividly describing for us those cases. It seems to be right in front of us how to use digitalization in those business activities. Thank you. So, Ms. Qing, speaking of Mars, we think of delicious snacks. Indeed, how I know that Mars has 5 principles and reciprocity is one of them. How can sustainable agriculture become a sustainable business model? Because you see, compared with the previous businesses, they produce daily necessaries. But at Mars, most of the goods are non-daily necessities. So how have you built your business model? Thank you for mentioning the 5 principles. This is in our DNA. At our meeting rooms, we hung up those 5 principles like efficiency, responsibility, and quality. But
reciprocity, and another one is autonomy. Let me explain reciprocity. In today's China's market, reciprocity aligns with our demands. We live in our era is very competitive. In some industries, people may engage in self-harm just to hurt the enemy, the rivals. So it's a competition where the total amount won't increase. That's why we pursue reciprocity and reciprocity-based cooperation. In any cooperation, be it with suppliers, retailers, or our common partners, policy side, standard side, or research side, we hope that they benefit, and they benefit enough. That's the reciprocity. If the other side cannot benefit enough, then it's something we shouldn't do. That's how we could implement some long-term programs. As I mentioned, the high oleic acid peanut, I joined Mars in 2018. Before that, we spent almost 10 years working on that peanut project. When it comes to the purchase of peanuts, we don't have to go to great lengths to do this in China because we can use our very mature global supply chain. But what we want is how to make this foundation better, to make this industry better. We know there is a better standard, a better variety, so we want to take the time to introduce it to China so that it can benefit Chinese consumers and development of Chinese industries. Renewable agriculture is very popular now. It's a very interesting concept. It's about how to recuperate and allow agriculture to recuperate itself. It's not a predatory development, but a development that leaves room for our future generations. It's a kind of a reciprocity between today and future generations. When we are doing renewable agriculture for wheat, we actually encounter some difficulties. For example, farmers are very reluctant to change their past farming methods. They have a certain income, they know what to invest and what to get. But after switching to renewable agriculture, they are not sure. And the fluctuations may affect their income this year. We need to think clearly for them first. How can they benefit in this fluctuation? This is the concept of reciprocity. This guides everything we do. In the market, we can ensure that they have a certain future. I just got the instruction that we need to end as soon as possible. So I want to summarize. So can everybody please use one sentence to summarize? If there's anything you could suggest based on the current supply chain and challenges, what a sentence you want to say? Because it's about supply chain, it's about agriculture. So if there's one hope, I hope that next year we could also include upstream and downstream of agricultural supply chain. We can invite relevant departments,
MARA is only upstream, but downstream in sales, logistics, transports. The SAMR is very important. The administration of market regulation in China is also very important. Mr. Yang. At meetings like today's one, the significance is that because in daily we deal with customers who come from the same supply chain, but today different sectors, different products, or even some sectors that have nothing to do with us. But we sit together, we exchange ideas. That's really precious. I suggest that in the future, the organizers of the Expo can support the exhibitors to invite more interested partners, friends, to organize some small salons, some small meetings. In this way, the Expo will be more valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, is consistency, is showing up. I think that we could talk about technology and we could talk about many things. This is the 4th time that I participated in this supply chain event. The Grains Council has been a champion and a supporter, and we continue to show up and support not only this conference, but this market. And in an age where there's a lot of competition, showing up matters.
Thank you. 张总。
是，我想是因为今天这个主题是讲那个品牌赋能那个农业，所以我。
So today, as we are talking about empowerment of brands, we started our business from agriculture. We hope brands can empower that agriculture to make agriculture respected and industry that is promising and can provide high quality products to consumers. And also we are able to identify opportunities of cooperation to grow better, grow agriculture better. From the upstream to the middle stream to downstream, and we are able to provide more emotional value. Madam Qing, I recalled because I used to major in English because it's a joke. The Chinese people hide somewhere and jump out, surprise. I want to say surprise. But today we talk about the supply chain. So this person said supply instead of surprise. So I hope that we can have more supplies instead of surprise. We have more stability on the supply chain. And I think this one sentence summary gave us expectations to the organizers and the Chinese government. Very meaningful, very valuable. Let's give a big hand to all the panelists. Thank you.
好了，非常感谢台上的。
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the thematic event on green agriculture. Thank you very much.